Hello everyone and welcome to Championship Sunday. We're here at the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championships presented by Guaranteed Rate. Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, joined alongside four-time world champion and Hall of Famer Valarie Jenkins. And Val, we've whittled it down to just 4 women, and now they're playing for the biggest purse in disc golf history. Pretty exciting Sunday.
It sure is, Terry. And since the round ended yesterday, I've just been thinking about each one of these players individually. And they all have a different skill set. They all have a different amount of time that they've been playing the sport, the amount of tournaments they've won, who's won a big event, who has still yet to win and still driving forward to try and make a name for themselves. It's going to be such an exciting day today. I said last year I was so incredibly nervous. I think things have upped this year. I mean, these are a lot of players that we don't typically see at the top all the time through the season. So this is going to be a really fun day.
Well, and someone who's playing the momentum card, and she's doing it quite well, that's Missy Gannon. Last weekend, she took home her biggest tournament of her career at the Throw Pink Women's Championships, and now she's following it up just a few miles north of where she previously won here at Hornet's Nest, and what a weekend she's been having.
Yeah, and there's something about it. When Missy Gannon took home her first big win in July of this year at the Des Moines Challenge, that's when the tournaments really start ramping up back to back, and players can feed off of that momentum. And once you start to dial in your game and you step up on the tee pad, you are locked in on exactly what you need to do. You know what every disc in your bag is going to do, and there's something you just can't exaggerate it enough, how these players can build off of that momentum, feeling confident to go for putts like that. So Missy Gannon definitely has that in her favor of, performing at the most elite level and winning.
And in addition to that, she's focused. She's dialed in, and when she is under pressure and has a putt to make, she comes through. Every single time. We're going to see if that is in fact the case today, because we're going to have this enormous prize pool on the line, and Missy Gannon seems to be unfazed by just about anything going on off the course or on the course. She's also heading into this as one of only 6 players to ever be in the top 3 seeds, and that's quite an elite company. Pierce, Allen, Holcomb, Weiss, and yourself. Again, very elite company.
No matter how long you've been playing, getting ready, standing on the tee pad of hole 1, your heart is racing.
The final round of the 2021 Disc Golf Pro Tour Championships presented by Guaranteed Rate. This is the female professional open division. Up first, hailing from Beacon, New York, please put your hands together for Miss Missy Gannon. Our next competitor hails from Caldwell, Idaho. She is our 2018 Tour champion. Please put your hands together for Miss Sarah. Up next, hailing from West Bend, Wisconsin, please give a warm welcome to Miss Haley King. Rounding out our card, hailing from Kingston, Tennessee, please give a warm welcome to Miss Heather Young.
It's been a beautiful couple of days out there, but now we're off and running. It's the championships on Sunday. We've got Nate Perkins just off the tee of 1. Take it away, Nate.
Good morning and welcome back to the Disc Golf Network. I'm Nate Perkins and I'm happy to be your eyes on the course today. It finally feels like fall here in Charlotte. The temperature dropped down to 45 degrees last night. It's only 54 this morning with a high of 68 degrees. Again, no humidity and no wind, which we saw play a factor in yesterday's open front 9. Missy Gannon's demeanor was a little bit different yesterday. Typically we see her dropping in putts with a big smile on her face, but she was all business. We saw Haley King grabbing her lower back at the end of yesterday's round, but I had a chance to speak with her this morning. She doesn't think it's going to hold her back today. Sarah Hokum has more experience than all 3 of the other competitors combined. Can her forehand take her to the top today at the tight course? Valarie, Terry, it's a historic day for disc golf. Today's champion will have the highest purse in disc golf history. It's an honor to be working with you guys. Take it away back in the booth.
And thank you so much, Nate. Some great insight. And that was the very first thing that I noticed, Val, was that we saw long pants, we see long sleeves, we see coats, all very different from what has been awarded to us in the last few days in terms of the weather. It looks like it's going to heat up, but maybe not until this afternoon's rounds.
And important to hear about the wind. That was something the players were thinking about when they got out into the open. They were putting on elevated baskets, and even in the woods, the wind was really a factor. But today, all they have to do is focus on playing the course, hitting the shots, and try not to let the nerves sneak in.
And some early struggles here for Haley King, the defending champ. Trying to chip her way down the fairway on 1, and these trees keep getting in the way.
Certainly not a great start for Haley, and it could rattle her a bit, but of course there's 17 more holes to play. There's so much golf, and even when we come down to the final few holes, anything can still happen. You could play yourself back in or drop yourself out of it.
Friend and teammate Thomas Gilbert on the bag there for Heather Young. Oh, that'll work just fine for Heather Young. Finds herself just off the wood chips. Solid approach.
So Heather and Haley have been playing this course the last 2 days. They both had to qualify in the quarterfinals and, of course, yesterday in the semifinals. So they have had the most experience with competitive rounds out here. And Heather and Haley have both shot incredible rounds, the best of the groups.
Again connecting with another tree. Haley King, that was for her bogey. She's going to have to get settled in. Sarah Hokum looking to throw her second. She looks way deep in circle 2. We spoke of this yesterday. This is not exactly a sweet spot by any means for Sarah Holcomb. She's comfortable, I feel like, just outside of the circle in terms of being in circle 2, but outside circle 1. But you push her a little bit deeper, she just doesn't have the power usually to get it all the way there. And this is slightly uphill. She's going to have to put everything into this one.
In yesterday's round, Sarah Holcomb had 7 attempts from C2. Whether it was drives just a little bit short or maybe perhaps leaving up shots a little bit short, but she wasn't able to hit any of them yesterday. Let's see if she can dial that in a little bit, get closer to the basket, and have a better chance.
This could be quite the confidence builder and momentum boost for Missy Gannon. We'll see if she can capitalize from just outside the circle. Just off the mark for Gannon. A little bit surprising.
And a lot with Missy's misses, she always hits basket. She always tends to hit metal. So she's always dialed in on reaching toward that target.
And our defending champ, Haley King, will open with the double bogey here on 1.
Wow, look at what a bounce. She's back, I think, on circle's edge, if not a step outside the circle on the other side of the pin.
Great comeback for Gannon. Solid recovery shot for Heather Young. Puts her right there for the par. And our 2012 world champ Sarah Holcomb is in. A little early struggles for Haley King. She's dug herself a little bit of a hole on hole number 1, but we'll see how she can recover. They're heading to the island. We'll be back with you in a moment.
How do you get what you want? Eric Weimer, blind man, wanted to climb Mount Everest. My man crazy, but he believed it was possible.
We're gonna do it.
And because he believed, he became the first blind person ever to stand on top of the world. Guaranteed Rate believes in your dreams. That's why we treat everyone like we treat our own family and work extra hard to get you the lowest low rate possible. Because if you believe, you will.
You are 332 feet from the basket. You are 270 feet from the basket.
At Upper Park Disc Golf, we're in business to make the game better for everyone. We do that by helping our player team grow their brands, by donating to great charities like You Play Disc Golf, by maintaining a 98% customer satisfaction rating, and by living our core values. Play different, create legendary relationships, be a good human, and enjoy the ride. So when you buy from Upper Park Disc Golf, you know you're buying from a company that loves the game as much as you do. Upper Park Disc Golf. Play different.
Welcome back, everyone. After our competitors have made the long walk from hole 1 to hole 2, we'll see if Haley perhaps can reset herself, take a few deep breaths. She's already put herself with a double bogey on the opening hole, and now we're going to go to the island hole here on 2. This is a live drone shot as our competitors are moving to the tee.
And with Haley, I mean, we know that she has struggled with a little bit of, fighting back, even if she has a bogey, not letting that get to her. And in this last season, I have seen her growth in her mental side of staying in it, continuing to fight. But it's a tough situation to be in. We're only one hole in, and now her mindset is, I got to fight back. I got to make up for that double bogey.
Missy Gannon on the tee of 2.
Island hole here, just 267 feet. Missy Gannon clears it with no problem. But as you could see, there were so many guardian trees right in front of the pin. So even if you do have enough distance to carry, you can get an unfortunate kick and bounce into the water. We then proceed to the drop zone on the island.
Sets up great for Holcomb's forehand. And really parks it. Sarah Holcomb right next to the basket here on 2.
Heather Young has never experienced pressure like she will today.
Well, this shot looks good. It just needs a little skip. That'll work. A little bit short, but certainly within range for Heather Young. Ely King with a mid-range. Oh, hits one of the trees but stays on the island, so she's safe. And our 2012 world champion, Sarah Holcomb, this is where she won her first and only world championships. You have to be thinking she's going to dig into some of those vibes, maybe think back to nearly a decade ago for one of the most career-changing moments that she ever had. It was right here on this property. And as they're making the walk over to the island, Nate Perkins, what did you see from Haley, and do you feel like she's going to fully reset now that she's on the green and looking at a birdie here on 2?
Well, I had the chance to watch these players warm up, and, Haley took as little time as anyone to warm up, but that's kind of typically what we see from her. She shows up 30 minutes before her tee time, hits a few putts, and then she's ready to go. A little late release, and she found herself in some early trouble. But what I do like to see is how she actually took her time on hole 2. She thought about the disc selection, she reset, she executed the shot. In years past, we might have seen her just get up and throw after a double bogey like that on the opening hole.
Yeah, and a great observation. As you saw, she actually switched up her disc. She went back to it. She fully reset, and that was a great, and you talk about her mental growth and how she is kind of settling into her own, and I think that speaks to that exactly. And Val, you walk up to hole number 1, and it's this tight gap and a very difficult and demanding tee shot. Once you get through hole 1, you then walk up to an equally as scary, albeit relatively wide open, you walk up to this kind of scary water carry that you have to have on hole 2. All 4 of our women easily putting it onto the island, some landing in better positions than others, but maybe after this drive on 2, they can somewhat relax just for a moment. You've got difficult tee shots that remain, of course, but you've carried the water and you're on inbounds on hole 2.
Yeah, that is so true. It's like you're having a few hurdles. You got to settle your heart rate. You take a few deep breaths, because standing on the tee of hole 1, nerves are so sky high. Having a few drives now under your belt, you can really settle into the round, figure out what your plan is going to be, and figure out how you're feeling for the day.
And Haley's release points are just a bit off. I understand that tree was clearly in her way, but she had plenty of room to get around it, and you have to err on the side of going wide. You cannot hit that tree, because obviously that's not going to give you even a chance for it to go in. I feel like that's already maybe the 3rd time we've seen that from her in just the handful of throws she's had. Gannon cashes the birdie on 2.
That's what I love to see. Missy Gannon, I think, had the most opportunities yesterday. She put herself in the best position off of the tees, the best up shots, and gave herself so many chances to get birdies and score.
And Heather Young follows it up with a great birdie putt of her own. She'll move to 1 under through the first 2 holes.
And we've got to mention yesterday, Heather Young 100% from C2. She had 4 massive putts in the round, and that's definitely a strength in her game. Solid putt from Haley, but can't help but to take note of the emotions happening right now.
And Sarah Holcomb for the short birdie putt. So for the 2nd hole in a row, Haley King is going to lose strokes to the entire card. This woman, Missy Gannon, she wants to be the champion following that momentum from last weekend and an incredible season. We'll see what she can do on the tee of 3. We'll be back in a moment.
Yo, there's nothing generic about this hysteric derelict. America can carry it or bury it in any area. I'm very, how do you say, not scared enough? I get on the mic, rock it tight, and tear it up. And there we are, all in awe of the star. Don't tell me that the shine is bright is too hard, cause who are you is the question that you should use to learn lessons that I can't describe, even though this vibe is so loud. You gotta learn to throw yourself like the electric slide. Who's next in line? Who's next in line?
How do you build your better game? Reps, focus, the right equipment. Zuka, disc golf carts for a better game.
The Mach X is a symphony of chain, 40 strands working together in harmony to make you feel like a big dummy when you leave it short. Just imagine how good those chains would have sounded had you tried a little harder.
Welcome back. We're taking a look at some of the early woes here of our defending champion, Haley King. Hole 1 requiring such accurate shots, and seems like she is just off the mark, and you see the reaction from her there, just wondering, how did I just do that? And she's done so with her birdie attempt on 2. She loses 2 strokes to the field on hole 1 and then loses another stroke to the entire field with birdies on hole number 2. See her with a deep breath. She's the same caddy on the bag, Cynthia Ricciardi, who was here last year when she took down the title. Let's see if she can fully reset and get ready to go here on 3. But first, we have Missy Gannon. Gannon lacing her drive, steering clear of all of the trees out here at Hornet's Nest. Just going to relax the left arm with her caddy Tom.
Yeah, that's what caddies are for. Carry the bag, carry the weight.
Always leaning on them for support. Here's Sarah Hokum.
Wow. As soon as she released that, I mean, how dead straight did that hold directly at that tree? Hole 3, par 4, over 600 feet, all about placement on this first shot. It's a dead straight approach, 250, 300 feet, and then the finish of this hole bends off to the right and almost makes a complete U-turn toward the basket.
If she can make it down to the corner, it sets up well for a lefty. She hits a late tree, so I don't think she's going to have a wide open approach. And Haley again finding early trees. Perkins, you're out there in the fairway. What does it look like for where some of those shots landed? Is Heather in a good position? And also, how tough is Haley's second shot going to be?
Well, we've seen before, if you don't make that initial corner, you just have to pitch down toward that bridge. Heather had a beautiful shot, but she has a pretty tough angle. Missy also pured it, and she's going to have that same forehand look that we saw her get burnt yesterday.
All right, and as we're flying the hole, this is exactly what we're talking about getting around the corner, at least to this spot right here. That bridge is always a great landmark for somebody to reference. That gives you a little bit more of an opening, whether it's with a forehand or an Anheuser backhand shot out through the main gap. But Haley King has a lot of work to do just to get down to the bend. And this forehand, incredible recovery. And there's the bridge I was just speaking of. I think we may see another forehand by Haley King to possibly save the par.
And it's really going to take a few shots like that for Haley to finally feel comfortable in her round. It is so challenging if you get off to a start on a wooded course and you don't feel like you can hit the lines. It's really tough to recover from that, but that's a great upshot from Haley. She's just at the bend. Hokum is just short of that corner.
Raven Newsom out there on the bag, helping out fellow teammate and friend Sarah Hokum. So much support that we're seeing for all the competitors out here today. Sarah just looking for her next landing zone. She can't get to the pin from here, but she's just looking for that next landing zone.
She gets around well. This is the second part of the hole. There's a few guardian trees blocking the pin. And something I always forget about is the elevation. It gradually climbs up to the basket. So that second shot, you feel like you can reach it, but that elevation really makes the hole and that second shot harder.
I'm reminded of the 3-stroke deficit that's for Haley King here in the early goings. Right now she's hoping to make the recovery and walk away with a par. Thank you all for joining us here on Championship Sunday. They're playing Hornet's Nest. Valarie, Jenkins, and myself bringing you guys the action. Of course, this afternoon we'll have the FPO conclusion as well. But Missy Gannon has been firing on all cylinders for the last few weeks, as you said, picking up that huge win at the Des Moines Challenge back in July. And she has been so confident ever since, clearly proving herself as one of the best players in the world. See if that fights back. And the forehand certainly serviceable. I think that's actually the term she uses with her forehand. Not a shot she loves to rely on necessarily, but she considers it serviceable.
She relies on it quite consistently. We do see her pull it out, and if you can rely on it enough to hit a tight line in the woods, I think you got a pretty solid sidearm. Remember, this bends off to the right, so Heather's going to have to throw a big turning sidearm. Well, leaves it low. This could roll.
That's clean. What struck me is when talking to Heather after one of her rounds, she said, I'm going to go back out on the course and I'm going to practice a few of my forehands. She didn't feel like her angles were just right. She said that there was something that was just a little bit off about them, and she's going to rely on them heavily out here today. Great gallery out there today taking in the action. See on the left-hand side of your screen there, a couple of Hall of Famers, 5-time world champion Juliana Korver, along with Hall of Famer and multiple world champion Jim Oates. And quite a year Juliana had coming back into the sport, taking to the tour full time. We saw her qualify. She was eliminated here in the first round, but so incredible after taking so much time off. She gets back into the sport and then proves that she's still competitive and then some on our most elite level events.
Yeah, it was like Juliana didn't skip a beat. However, she threw herself into a brand new generation of disc golf. I mean, the sport has grown tremendously over the years, and just within the last few years, to see how far these women are throwing, to see that everyone has a sidearm. These players can throw rollers. I mean, there are so many things that the sport has just elevated. And these players are young. Haley King, 21 years old, 20 years old. Heather Young, just the same. It's Sarah Holcomb who is the veteran on this card, and still not old enough to play Masters, but she turned pro back in 2008. So Sarah Holcomb has seen a competitive round and a few majors of her own. She has the most experience for sure.
A little bit with a higher same disc, I think. Yeah, with this disc. Alright, I like it. Go. And it's got to push around that. What? It's got to push around this disc too. Like this. The fatty? Yeah, the fatty.
After deliberation, Holcomb's got her game plan. She appears to have hit her line, but it looks like short. She'll have an opportunity to save her par. Another 5-time world champion. As I expected, I thought I'd see Paige Pierce out here today taking in the action. Of course, she's been a competitor and often beats a lot of these women when she's out there on the course. She struggled mightily yesterday. But Paige Pierce out here, and she's also very good friends and travels within the same travel pod, I'll say, with Missy and Tom. Today, she's a spectator.
And who wouldn't want to be a part of the action? I mean, Paige Pierce, she has lived and died for that competitive feeling. And it is such a fun thing to kind of sit back, although I'm sure she wishes she was playing, but to sit back and watch these players learn, grow throughout these experiences.
Short backhand approach for Missy Gannon, effective. And really, I think one of the biggest stories of the weekend is that our number 1 and 2 seeds were knocked out yesterday. Katrina Allen and Paige Pierce, neither of them being here. And that's, of course, giving all 4 of these women the time to step up and shine, try and take down this largest payout ever.
And those two players, Paige and Katrina, they just have a way about them that they can kind of set the tone for the group. They can bring that sort of intensity. Although Sarah Holcomb's kind of in the same boat, I feel like this is a level playing field for all these competitors. This is a lot that they're fighting for. And so I'm just so interested to see who maybe can start with the momentum, who is going to carry this group forward.
Another opportunity from circle 2, but Holcomb cannot convert. She's going to be walking away with a bogey. Here's Haley King to save her par. That also off the mark.
And there's something to be said about Haley. The way she came into this event last year, she was sort of the underdog, waiting for her first big win, and it creates this fire inside young players. This year, there might have been bigger expectations to defend that championship, to play just as well, and that's a lot riding on this young player's shoulders.
Hole 3 providing plenty of challenges for our card. Heather will tap in, walking away with the par. And this is how we've arrived at Championship Sunday. Missy Gannon and Sarah Holcomb, due to their seeds throughout the entire season, they earned themselves byes to the quarterfinals. Haley King and Heather Young, as you mentioned earlier, had the 2 best scores out here, and then Young followed that up with the 3rd best score in the semis yesterday. And Haley King showing that she can attack these woods. She can put together plenty of birdies out here. However, early struggles as of right now. And we're also looking at the percentage in which these players were picked throughout the various through the bracket that was offered up. Haley King, the favorite here among these 4.
And Heather Young is definitely an underdog, but she has put up the best rounds this weekend so far. 8 birdies in the first round, 7 birdies in the second round. She has been locked in on this course, so wouldn't that be an upset and a life changer for Heather Young to take this down.
Well, according to that bracket, it would be, but I'm not sure all of those people are following professional women's disc golf if she is only picked at 0.7%. That is astonishing to me. Heather Young is so solid. She is so technical. Her putting is insane. So to have her that much of an underdog is quite shocking to me personally. Missy Gannon retains the honors as we move over to hole 4. I like where this is heading. Just a little bit short for Gannon, though.
This hole doesn't look like much from the tee, but there is so much out of bounds that these players have to deal with. Missy is over on the left-hand side and is going to bring this out of bounds baseball field fence into play. There's also an out of bounds line that rides the right-hand side, circles the basket, and then there's a parking lot alongside the green. There is so much out of bounds on this hole that players need to make sure they're landing every shot inbounds. Save yourself the amount of strokes because they could quickly add up. This has to hold.
It's tracking toward the OB line, but she gets the green flag. She's well short of it. Same areas, two of the previous shots, but with more distance. I want to throw it out to Nate Perkins on the ground. Nate, talk to us about what they're doing from that left side of the fairway. What do their angles look like? How are they going to approach the pin from there?
Yeah, so none of them made the corner, so they're just looking to make the corner and get as close to the fence as possible to open up the angle into the green.
And now we are looking at a live shot here of hole number 4. The fence in the midsection of your screen there.
That was such a great view of what this hole looks like. It was like a real life course map. The way that this hole bends and shapes and finishes down near the parking lot on a sloped green. You truly have to have a game plan on this hole. You have to know how far you can throw, how solid and how far your sidearm can go if you want to go for the pin in 2. So this is really fun to see these 4 completely different players, 4 completely different games try and attack this hole.
There you see Heather getting set up from the drone preview there. Should I say overview?
That wall of trees in the distance, the out of bounds line is just another 10, 15 feet beyond those. So Heather's going to try and hyzer the sidearm, keep it nice and safe.
Asking for it to sit, and that looks like it finished, in fact, in bounds. Not by much, but that is in bounds. That's why you heard her asking for it to sit down. And Val, as they're moving down this hole, I know it brings up some memories. Sarah Hokum managed to hold you off. You were charging in the 2012 Worlds. You were charging during the final 9, and it all came down to this final hole at the World Championships. Sarah made a clutch uphill putt to take down her first world title, and she edged you out by a single stroke. Too soon? I'm sorry.
I mean, it was an incredible play on this hole. Talking about game plans, this is a hole that I knew I couldn't go for. I played the layup on my second shot, where Sarah, she has the skill set to get around that corner with the sidearm and attack the pin. A little out of position in today, but she lands it nice and safe. And in that final 9 holes.
I like that. It's so much easier than that. It's easier when you hit the fairway. Yeah. Sort of.
Sarah actually, she threw it over the parking lot. It skipped over the parking lot and found its way inbounds and made a life or death putt for the win and the championships. So if you can look back in the archives, it was the most incredible win I've seen for the World Championship title. And those ice in the vein type of putts.
Well, she's going to need that today going up against the likes of this woman, Missy Gannon, who seems to have that same mentality whenever she steps up to a pressure-packed putt. Missy throwing her second. Also asking for it to sit. That's tracking, but inbounds. On this hole at 730 feet with the elevated pin, with OB behind it, OB on the left and the right, this does play as a par 5 for our FPO competitors.
We got Zoe Andike, Dustin Keegan out there spectating. And that's so interesting to see. I mean, this is the final event of the season. There's only 4 players out there on the course. So all these disc golfers that have traveled on tour can be out there now and spectate and cheer on their fellow competitors throughout the year.
It's becoming a who's who of the gallery, that's for sure.
It's like when you're at the basketball games and they zoom in, they take the camera.
Yeah.
Look who's joining us today. Haley is tucked up tight against this fence corner. So she's going to have to throw something, get over the fence. Oh, and she's going big, and this could find out of bounds.
And right out of her hand, we heard her say, "That's OB." So certainly not the angle she needed, and she gets the red flag. Haley King continues to struggle here in the early goings of this round.
And that was just an unfortunate step. Haley was just right there at that corner bend in the fence, having to throw over it. All she needed to do was land up on the top on that flat area near that electrical box. That's only about 100-foot toss. Haley was going for the miracle shot to try and S-turn a massive sidearm, but she's now going to take an out-of-bounds stroke, and this is no easy upshot to the basket from where she's going to be taking it.
What an exciting shot to be looking at. Big shout out to Trent, one of our many cameramen who have been hustling around the country, providing us all of these amazing angles throughout the entire year. And a live look here at hole number 4. And Hornet's Nest, along with the entire Charlotte Disc Golf Club, so supportive and such amazing hosts for our Disc Golf Pro Tour Championships these last few years. Here's Haley King. And that is going to be just at circle's edge to an elevated basket. So she's not out of the woods yet, so to speak.
So this is the first of 2 par 5s that we'll find out on the course. Seems like a relatively easy approach, but it is so severely sloped down to the left, and there's out of bounds on the left-hand side with that parking lot. So with a backhand shot, she's playing against the hill. She has to really make sure she's hitting the line she needs to, staying on top of the hill, and landing it flat so it doesn't have a chance to roll.
Oh, that's released low. Inside the circle, but uphill putt. At least she's putting away from the danger here on hole number 4. And speaking to the weather and the temperature earlier, I believe way back on hole 1, I saw Tom handing Missy one of those disposable hot pocket things, so to speak, or the hand warmers. Thank you. I missed breakfast this morning. Sorry, Val. Meanwhile, you've got Heather Young in shorts and a short sleeve shirt to get her morning started.
Helps to be a lefty on that type of shot, but she almost brought that tree into play, but that's what she needed to do to get that angle. And
and just a moment, Thomas Gilbert is from Canada, and he's already got gloves on? Come on, Thomas.
Just try and hit the chips in line with the basket and finish on the right side. Club up. I think clubbing up's not a bad idea.
And Sarah Holcomb with the game plan after discussing with Raven.
a little bit of wind. See the breeze picking up.
Freaked me out.
Why?
When the wind, oh, it was funny because once you walked over there, it started gusting.
I know, I was like, well, hold on, this is going to stop. Just give me a second.
Well, Sarah Holcomb and Heather Young, I guess, are scaring their caddies today. I want to hear a little bit more confidence from those guys.
Well, maybe they should just simmer down and sit back and let the professionals that are in the finals do the work.
Exactly. I agree. They know what they're doing. But I got to say, sitting back in that caddy position and watching somebody that you care for, or a good friend, you have no control over what their shots are going to do, and that makes you even more nervous. But you got to rely on the player. They've been in these situations so many times throughout the season. They know what they're doing.
And thankfully for Haley King, that sits down as she goes up and over. Certainly not tentative or timid with that attempt. Light left to right breeze for Missy Gannon. This is Gannon for birdie on 4.
Again, hitting metal, keeping it on line.
This is Heather Young for her birdie on hole 4, the par 5. As you'd expect, Heather Young from inside the circle, making easy work of hole number 4. That pushes her to 2 under par. She's going to be your outright leader through the first 4 holes. Haley King in for the bogey. She's going to go to 4 over through the first 4. Holcomb picks up a birdie. She goes back to 1 under par. And Missy Gannon will remain at 1 under par. Your new leader is Heather Young. This birdie putt is what it took. She goes to 2 down. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with you in a moment from the tee of 5. Welcome back as we're taking a live look. Relatively short walk from the green of hole number 4, just down and to the left for our competitors to move over to the tee of 5. Heather Young with the honors, off to a great start. She's 2 down through 4. She knows how to rack up the birdies on this course. Looks like she's getting to work early. Bit short of circle 1 for her drive here on hole 5.
Right within the putting range of Heather Young. As long as she can get a visual on the target, she can run at the pin. She is so confident in going for every putt she can. And this hole is just 258 feet.
There you go. And less than 15 feet remains for Sarah Holcomb. Solid shot here on 5.
You can see it a little bit with the camera angle, but the slope near the pin is pretty extreme. So you're going to see these players, although they could get to it with the backhand, the sidearm is a great shot because it cuts against the hillside. Less likely to roll. Not enough pop on that one for Missy. You have to trust that if you throw it over the road, if you throw it toward the road, that it's going to hyzer back to the basket. Or maybe not.
Haley King out of bounds on 5. She's going to need something miraculous to save the par. Haley King continues to struggle here in the early goings. We're going to take a look at the signature sidearm out of Sarah Holcomb. Also, a Sunstein moment here. Val, break down this form. Sunstein, I know we can reach out to them if we want to protect or patent something, but what is Sarah Holcomb doing here when she leans into this?
I'm still wondering myself. I've seen her form for so many years, but nobody throws a sidearm like Sarah Holcomb. She can just work a disc at that hyzer angle, throwing something a little bit understable, but she always has her eyes on the target. And that's what makes Sarah Holcomb so accurate with her drives and such an incredible player in the woods.
Well, if you're looking to possibly get something patented or work on any kind of intellectual property that you have that you want to protect, you should reach out to our friends over at Sunstein. They've been gracious partners and supporters of us on the Disc Golf Pro Tour and the Disc Golf Network. Thank you to Sunstein.
And with that out of bounds, we did see Haley lay up underneath the basket. So now over to Missy Gannon.
And she cans it. Missy Gannon, circle 2, birdie on hole 5. She moves to 2 under par. And right there, her closest competitor, Heather Young, giving her the props. Oh, and somehow that doesn't stay in for Young. Not able to follow up the birdie that we saw from Gannon. This is for Sarah Holcomb to go 2 under on the round. Converts. Holcomb in for birdie.
Sarah is so routine oriented that she can stand up to any type of pressure. She gets back into her routine and makes the putt. Haley in for bogey, and we did get word that back pain, that little back issue that she had yesterday, seeming to be bothering her today.
We're going to take another look as Missy Gannon from circle 2 puts it up with the slightest of hyzer angle and cashes it in center of the chains. Missy Gannon just so deadly with the putter. She comes back with the smile. That's got to be some great momentum. One of the shorter, easier holes on the course. And she knows that she needs it because the likes of Heather Young are going to be right there. Heather not able to convert, but taking a look at Missy's year here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour and the win she picked up even just last weekend at the Throw Pink Championships. Just about 30 minutes south of where we are right now is when she collected her biggest paycheck. She's going to improve on that today. Her worst finish was 19th at the Portland Open. And really no surprise, you see her in the top 4 for her C1X putts at 77%. Incredible breakout year here for Missy Gannon. I think what's also exciting about this entire event is that we are going to see the new high cash grabs, so to speak, for all of our top competitors today. Whoever takes down first place, obviously getting the largest purse we've ever seen at $30,000, but $8,000 is the minimum that's going to be given away today. That will be a new single event record for all 4 of these women. So even if you finish in 4th, you're still taking home your biggest paycheck of your career.
And it certainly has to be in the back of the minds of all of these players. It's something that I'm sure they're trying to just force out of, they need to just play the round. They need to shoot the best they can, try and win. And winning that amount of money to end your season, that's just a bonus on top of it all, and a huge bonus at that. So hole 6 bends around to the left. So backhand, just a nice hyzer. Gotta rely on that skip to bring you around the corner. Missy does it just perfectly. And think about the benefit. I mean, to see what Sarah had to do on this shot, to see Heather Young having to pull out a sidearm, this is certainly an easier hole for a backhand right-handed thrower.
She could use the skip. That's going to leave her somewhere in circle 2. I've kind of harped on this over the last few days, Val, that we've seen with these women or our top contenders moving through the first 2 rounds, out of 24 opportunities on holes 4, 5, and 6 combined, we've seen 21 birdies. So this is the stretch where you really need to pick up your birdies. And Haley King's hoping to get one here. That shot looks great. Comes in a little short, but we'll see if she can put her first birdie on the scorecard here on 6. Going to take another look at Missy Gannon. Just playing it out to the right, letting it just fade in. Maybe a skip or 2 should bring you right to the pin. 321.
And when Missy releases this, none of these players can see the basket from the pin. So all they have to know is, are they hitting that spot in the sky that they practiced? Did they pick the right disc with the right amount of power? Can it get to the pin? And Missy does it perfectly. Just short of that large tree that could have kicked her off to the right. She dialed up the distance just right.
Another top player out there in the crowd taking in the action firsthand, Kyle Klein. Finished in 5th in the Disc Golf Pro Tour standings here this year. And that is just a pitch up to the pin. Sarah Holcomb not trying to get aggressive on the elevated basket, knowing if she's got to get it up that high, and if she were not to make it, it would carry a ways past it. So here's Heather Young from Circle 2.
Remember, she was 100% yesterday, so I have no doubt she's running for this one. That was right on line, little high. And typically I would say, oh, maybe it's a little bit far past. But with Heather Young, I don't worry about those comebackers.
This would be for Haley King's first birdie of the round. Count it. Haley King, solid putt. You see her very gingerly walking up to the basket, though. The damage might already be done for Haley King with this rough start.
When you're a confident putter and you know that you can hit the comeback putts, that just lengthens the amount of putts that you can go to. Missy Gannon, that was an easy little drop-in birdie for her, bringing her to 3 under par. With Holcomb in a par, just 1 stroke behind.
And taking another look at Haley King, her putter seems to be on point. However, it looks like she's been struggling off the tee. Again, it's due to that back. Nate, you're on the ground. Are you noticing, her reactions? Is she wincing when she throws? What are you seeing out of Haley King?
Yeah, I overheard her saying that she is feeling some numbness again down that right leg, but she's still here. She's not giving up. That is her first birdie of the round, and looking forward to seeing her card some more.
All right, I want to make a correction earlier. Haley King, of course, took this down and took home the $20,000 paycheck last year. So if she were to finish in 4th, of course, she wouldn't be resetting her new career best. But nonetheless, it is an incredible day out here to be playing disc golf at the championships, all thanks to Guaranteed Rate. And there you see the payout for our finalists: $30,000 for first, $15,000 for second, $10,000 for third place, and our fourth place competitor today will take home $8,000.
And we have to take note, it is the same payout for the men and the women. So huge congratulations to the Disc Golf Pro Tour for stepping up the game and making sure the sport's best athletes, whether they're female or male, they are getting a big payout because they're all on the road. They are all traveling, putting in the practice rounds, and they absolutely deserve it.
More than $250,000 awarded this weekend alone. Again, thank you to all of our partners and supporters of the Disc Golf Pro Tour, the Disc Golf Network, and our presenting sponsor in Guaranteed Rate. And now, Missy Gannon on the tee of 7. Solid shot for Gannon inbounds, and I love the angle being over on that left-hand side of the fairway. That's going to give her a few different options for how she wants to attack the pin. Haley doesn't like it. She's in the fairway, but after cooking the branch, she falls short.
Challenging shot for a sidearm. We have the road as out of bounds on the left-hand side, but it's also lined with a set of trees you can see there on the left-hand side of your screen. So Sarah doesn't have a ton of airspace to work with. She needs to keep it in the middle and avoid going into the right trees.
And a near perfect tee shot for Sarah Hokum on 7.
Same goes for the shot that Heather's trying to throw. She doesn't allow it to flip up enough, so she is over on the right-hand side. But Missy Gannon started off the group with a beautiful drive, and she is looking to be so locked in. It really started on hole 2 with this great putt, getting things back on track, and then knowing that there's not a lot of danger if she goes for this one. 50 feet, Missy Gannon in the basket.
And when she's not doing it with the putter, she says, well, I'll just put it right next to the basket and remain stress-free. She has the tap-in on hole number 6. In fact, she can just about dunk that in with her driver. Missy Gannon doing big things here. 3 down through the first 6 holes. Also in great position here on the 7th.
And it's still a little too early to tell who's going to continue to charge forward. Missy was able to get the birdie on 6, and that brings her just 1 stroke of Heather Young, who is also bogey-free for the round. So Haley is well short. There's just so much danger with her trying to push this next shot. I think at this point and the position she's in right now, I think a par would be the best score she could get.
It's like she's lining up the backhand. that draws wood on the tight right side of the fairway. Now at best, Haley King will be walking away with a par. Nate's on the ground, and Nate, what kind of danger do we find Heather Young in? Can she get out? Can she save a par?
Heather Young actually has a decent gap here. I believe she's going to be throwing a forehand out of the gap. I think she's got pretty good odds to get out and get up and down for a par.
So albeit off the fairway on this right-hand side, looks like she might have a lane. Thank you, Nate.
This hole measures out just under 600 feet. So roughly a couple of 300-foot throws, and it could get you to the pin, but Heather's forced to stand still on the second shot. So it's going to require a lot of power.
That is on the edge, but should be a routine up and down from there.
So Missy has a tunnel on the left-hand side and basically a direct route at the pin. You can see that tree, that first tree right in our view, creates the low ceiling, and it is low ceiling for half of the shot. So it's very challenging to get as much distance as you need with the height limitations.
This looks beautiful for Gannon. She'll get the skip up toward the pin. Very makeable. We see Gannon in position to collect her fourth birdie on the round. And thanks to Bushnell, we see that Sarah Hokum, or we actually hear that Sarah Hokum, as we'll get that updated, but Sarah Hokum is 360 to the pin from right here. Oh, and playing the flex. Not able to fully pan out. She'll have a long look. Not exactly in Hokum's range, but she has a putt that she can certainly be aggressive on if she wants. But thank you to Bushnell. Go check them out and pick up an Edge rangefinder. They have been so supportive of our disc golf community, developing multiple products to support you and your game. Bushnell, proud supporters of the Disc Golf Pro Tour and the Disc Golf Network here in 2021. And, well, Haley King knows exactly what she needs thanks to Bushnell.
On cue, Haley King with the sponsor drop. So Haley's not in the best position. She's almost smack dab in the middle of the fairway, so she's going to have to work an Anheuser shot. Looks like she's lining up the left-hand side, so low ceiling.
Gets a tree kick exactly like that. It will finish right next to the pin. Nice shot for Haley King. And she should be able to walk away from hole number 7 with the par. That would be just her second par of the round. And as I'm looking at Heather here, I look back to her previous 3 rounds. By the time she had completed hole 7 and took the long walk over to 8, over the last 2 rounds, we saw her one of the rounds she had 4 birdies, and another one of the rounds she had 3 birdies. Today, at best, she's looking at having 2 birdies by the time she goes to 7. So really what I'm saying is not quite as hot of a start, albeit bogey-free. trying to correct me on that, isn't she?
She sure was.
That was cool, though.
And Heather Young with our Hempfield recovery shot, getting the work done out here on hole number 7. We saw her have to push out from the shrubbery on the right side, and then eventually being able to throw that right up next to the pin. We want to thank Hempfield, which is a certified B Corporation, meaning they use their business as a force for good. They only use organically grown products designed to help with muscle recovery and pain relief. As they say at Hempfield Botanicals, feel good, play better. Another live look from up above here at Hornet's Nest, located in Charlotte.
Another C2 look for Sarah Holcomb. But a par will do. But Missy Gannon, she is the only one on our card still with a chance for birdie. Udisc saying inside circle 2, and she is just barely right there on circle's edge. See Paige getting the best vantage point right behind Missy.
Missy Gannon for birdie on 7. Hands it. Missy Gannon on fire. That is her 3rd birdie in a row. That moves her to 4 under par through the first 7, and she extends her lead over the field.
Here we go. Missy Gannon looking so locked in.
This is for Heather Young to save her par and remain 2 back of Gannon. Count it. So consistent. Heather Young.
And with those makes, Heather can continue charging forward, not letting Missy out of her sight too much just yet. But this front 9 is certainly the time that these players need to be focused on getting as many birdies as they can. The back 9 of this course is extremely challenging. Long technical shots through the woods, and that's when the strokes can add up.
And Haley will tap in for her 2nd par of the round. I'm going to take another look. Missy Gannon from circle 2. And she cans it. They're taking a long walk over to 8. We'll see in a moment after a word from these sponsors.
The Combat Commander has enough space for all your discs here and everything else you need here. We beefed up the construction while keeping it lightweight and made sure there's ventilation so you can stay cool while waiting for your friends to throw because you just outdrove them. Or while you're looking for your disc in the OB. Either one.
I'm Garrett Girthy. People know me as Double G. I've been making Double G craft jerky since I was 16 years old.
Whether I'm at home or on the road, Double G craft jerky is the snack that I go for.
I've actually found myself eating Double G craft jerky on my long drives to the next tournament.
We all know Double G's got a big arm, but he's also got a big heart. Every bag of Double G jerky that you buy supports children's disc golf and goes to a great cause.
You can find Double G craft jerky at doublegjerky.com.
Good job, buddy. I can't believe it.
You're up next.
Stay turning. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Ooh. Wow.
Inbounds.
That's exactly.
Unbelievable. Excellence to me is about constant self-analysis. Which habits are helping me towards my goals and which ones aren't? It's the same with nutrition. The foods I eat should help make my mind and my body the best they can be. Thunderbird makes that simple.
Prize Picks is daily fantasy sports made easy. Simply pick the over-under on 2 or more players, and that's it. You can win up to 10 times your money in just one day. Download the Prize Picks app today and get your first deposit match up to $100.
Welcome back, everyone. We are here for our championship round Sunday morning in Charlotte. Valarie Jenkins along with myself, Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, and we are taking in all of the action out here today. Man, Missy Gannon looks unstoppable at the moment. We're heading into the much more technical, the tighter alleys, the tighter fairways that are found in the mid to late section of this course, but right now she looks unstoppable, Val.
Yeah, and really, Missy Gannon in the last few events of the season, like I was mentioning, these players are playing every weekend. Highly competitive events. Missy knows exactly what her discs are doing. She knows how well she's been putting, and it is all coming together in today's round. This is the last big round of these players' season, and Missy Gannon has certainly given it her all.
Looks like maybe she's traded in her hot pocket for one of her other sponsors in Thunderbird bars. This is a live look up over hole number 8. They're going to be throwing from the left side of your screen over to the right side of your screen. Relatively open tee shot. Well, should I say the middle section of the fairway is open. You're going to have to hit a gap right off of the tee, but then you have that open area to throw through, and then they're throwing back into the woods, where it will bend up and to the right. Here at the Charlotte's Nest course out here, or Hornet's Nest in Charlotte.
There we go.
Sometimes I think what they do, and I know I've actually misspoke a few times this weekend, there's some configurations out on this property that I believe they refer to as Charlotte's Web as well, because they're taking a number of different tees and pins. But here we are. We're at Hornet's Nest Park. Pulled it right. And she gets away with it.
Some days it doesn't matter what you do. Of course, and the trees might lean out of your way, and that turned out to be a great shot from Missy.
And just overall, you would rather be right on this hole as opposed to left. If you're left, you're in jail, and you're going to have to fight through or maybe just pitch out and lay up. So you cannot be short and left. And that is exactly where Haley King is headed. That's going to be trouble. She may have to exhaust a stroke just to pitch back out into the fairway.
It's similar to her drive on the last hole. It puts her in a position where she now has to play for par. So good drives, it just keeps giving you opportunities to score, opportunities to birdie. But bad drives, you just have to, like you said, surrender a shot, sacrifice a shot, and try and get your par and walk away. About 300 feet to the ideal landing zone back into the woods. Wow. Missy Gannon has a massive advantage on this hole, with the only player to actually get off a good drive. Everyone else is on the left-hand side, but it helped to have a little bit of luck on your side. She finds an alley on the right-hand side of that grouping of trees, and she should be lined up with that alley toward the basket.
Simply put, some days when it's your day, it's your day. And right now, things are looking good for Missy Gannon.
We've talked about it in the previous 2 rounds. You know, we've seen players come out to a commanding lead, look unstoppable. But for this course, it comes down to those last 4 holes. Doesn't matter how big of a lead you have, you could lose it all on those last 4 holes. So Missy just needs to continue charging forward, remaining confident, and hopefully skating through those last 4 holes with no pressure.
And as Sarah and Raven discuss the shots, I want to reach out to Nate on the ground. Nate, how much trouble are our competitors in on this left-hand side? Raven seems to be second-guessing Sarah's plan.
Yeah, they're definitely discussing it in length right here, Terry. And you've said it before, early left is just not where you want to be on this hole. She's just looking to get back out to the fairway here.
Looks like it should work.
And it did roll far enough to get a little bit of distance, and then as it rolled and continued to curl at the end, I think that's right in the opening. So even giving her a little distance toward the basket.
The patent pending stance here by Heather Young.
I believe that's just short of that opening that we saw Sarah find herself in. But as long as they're near that opening, if they're around there, they can now give themselves a chance to get up to the basket. I think Heather will have plenty of space. Really just a little bit farther down the fairway, and looks like there's a tempting line through the woods, maybe a more direct route.
Not quite clean. She carried most of the lane she was looking for, but more trouble here for Haley King. Thinking of hole 8, I think back to last year when Haley King and Paige Pierce went into a playoff. This is where it started. They came here to hole number 8. They ended up pushing here on 8, and then they ultimately walked over to hole number 11, where it was then decided, where Haley became your champion. Right now, Haley in trouble. Not much forward progress again for King.
It is a tough position to be in for Haley. It's so tough to try and fight back, to force shots to happen. Like we're saying, when it's your day, it's your day, and sometimes when it's not your day, it is tough to recover from that. Haley is still not to the corner. a nice shot for Haley. I think she'll be just inside circle 2 at best, but finally around the corner near the basket.
Missy directing a little traffic, trying to figure out who's out next. I believe it's going to be Holcomb and then Missy. Again, we've seen all of these shots from her fellow competitors, and she's yet to throw her second. So much emphasis on a solid drive here on 8.
Flippy just to hit the gap.
Okay.
But
the most important is the first gap. Yeah.
Holcomb's third shot puts her inside the circle, or at least near circle's edge. She might be able to save a par after that rough scramble here on hole number 8. Juliana Korver right there to give her a little props. That's got to feel good. 5-time world champ, taking it all in.
Door is open for Missy Gannon to get another stroke. This second shot, although she is right at the corner, she has to throw over a few mounds in front of the basket, so she needs to leave it nice and high, but with a slower speed disc to control that distance. That looks good. Let's get a tree kick at the end. We'll see how close she ends up being, and if she has a look at the basket, I have to assume she's going for birdie.
Heather exploring all options here for her third shot on 8. Looks like she's going to take to one knee and go with the forehand.
Gonna need a good amount of height underneath this to get to the pin. That's a challenging thing, throwing from your knee, extending out, stretched out like that.
I like how that's flexing back. It's going to be a little bit short. Nate Perkins is on the ground. Nate, it's kind of tough for us to see exactly how close a few of those approaches are. Can you give us some estimations?
Yeah, Holcomb's at circle's edge right there. And I believe that Missy's just inside.
All right, thank you so much. Missy Gannon currently with the 2-stroke advantage over Sarah Holcomb and Heather Young, and Haley King, between her injury and I think a little bit of her demeanor, this does not look like an opportunity or a situation where she's going to be able to repeat as champion. Hole 8 taking a bite out of her scorecard, so to speak, as she's continued to struggle here. She will have her remaining putt for double bogey, and she could be losing as many as 3 or 4 to some of her card mates.
And on a positive note, Haley can't do any worse than 4th. This is not a typical tournament situation. Haley, there's gonna be a point in her round where, let's just say her back is still feeling good and she's still into it. She could start running at things. There is absolutely nothing to lose and all to gain. So let's hope Haley doesn't really talk herself out of it completely.
Missy's forehand approach, a little on the light side, but certainly in makeable distance for her. And as you were just saying, Val, 4th place today, still taking home an $8,000 check. For many of our players, like I was mentioning earlier, that is the largest check they've ever received. So to walk away with $8,000 for a 4th place performance, well, that might be the consolation prize that Haley's going to have to take into the off season. Heather Young from Circle 2. This is Heather for her par. And on point, she just needs a little more height as she hits the pull koozie.
That just shows you how accurate Heather Young is from that distance. To hit the pole, to still be on line. Really incredible. Sarah, she's just outside the circle here. There's a few trees in her way, but I believe she has a clear look at the pin. This is a long look to save her par.
Off the top, Sarah Holcomb is going to card her 2nd bogey of the round. And she will fall back to 1 under par, and Missy Gannon has an opportunity to extend her lead here on hole 8. Missy Gannon for par. Solid.
And Missy Gannon remains bogey free with another solid putt.
Haley King stepping up. This is for double bogey. Whenever she's gotten near the basket, clearly the putter hasn't been the problem for Haley. It's getting off of the tee clean. That's what's been her struggle here today. Heather will tap in for her first bogey of the round. Heather will fall back to 1 under. As we take another look, Missy Gannon just confident through and through. And now a 3-stroke lead as she moves into hole number 9. Missy Gannon in the driver's seat.
Not yet halfway through the course, and Missy has started just to continue to charge forward, and that's what she needs to do. Think about how this hole just laid out. Missy Gannon, the only one with a great drive, kind of in her own world right now. She can continue to remain focused, just hit the shots at hand, stay within her own game, and not let the outside pressures get to her. I don't think there's anything stopping Missy.
We are so glad you're joining us here on Championship Sunday, the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championships, presented by Guaranteed Rate. Things are all coming up Missy at this point. She's going to need to miss a few of the trees here as we head into the thicker part of the course. Here's her tee shot on 9. What trees? She pured that shot, Val.
You could hear some of the spectators giggling. I mean, how close that was to hitting the tree, but how incredible of a drive that was down this fairway. Unbelievable for most people.
Nice low line drive by Sarah Holcomb.
And this gives you a great view of the line that they're trying to hit. At its widest point, it's probably no more than 25 feet at most.
And a complete misfire that we see from Heather Young. She just barely missed one of the first trees on the left, but then connected with one just past it. And the struggles continue here for Haley King. Missy with the pure shot. So many people come out to the woods. They usually connect with a tree or two or sometimes 10, depending on how your day is going, but not Missy Gannon. She's playing different today, lacing it down the fairway of the par 4, hole number 9. We have to thank Upper Park for all of your support and your partnership with the Disc Golf Pro Tour and the Disc Golf Network here in 2021. Upper Park, in fact, has partnered with the Pro Tour in the sense that we even have our own version of Rebel Bag, and you can find that out on dgpt.com/shop and pick up an Upper Park bag. Thank you again to Upper Park. And after scattering a few of the spectators that are out there, we find Heather Young on the left side of the fairway.
Even though she's off the fairway, she has plenty of options. She takes another tree kick, but it doesn't bounce her very far. Still short of where Missy's drive was, where Sarah's drive ended up. This is a par 4, almost 500 feet. And it takes a slight bend to the left to get to the pin. It's not quite a corner, although Missy is at that final point before it starts to turn. So from where Haley is, it's a big hyzer to get to the basket. And I'm just not sure how pinched off she is, how short she is on this drive, and if she can really get around that corner just yet. That's not going to do it. She still fights her way down the fairway a bit.
And I'm starting to think ahead about the longevity, of course, of Haley King's career in if she's injured at all and how much it may or may not be hurting her. Because if she's playing in any amount of pain right now, I'm not sure that she should even continue. I know we talked about how finishing in 4th still gets you this sizable check, but if there's any risk of her injuring herself even more than she already is, I'm not sure there's much to be playing for. It's not worth it, is what I'm trying to say right now. I'm not sure if her injury is to that degree right at this moment, or if she's just simply misfiring on a number of these very tight and technical shots. Here's Heather Young's third shot on the par 4, hole number 9. That'll work, just about circle's edge. So Heather Young trying to scrape together a par.
And that is what you're going to have to do. Scramble, scrap your way, find a way to save par if you're out of position off the tee. But the advantage on every one of these wooded holes goes to the player that can put out a great drive. And Sarah Holcomb is looking right at the target. This is a great chance for her to get a birdie.
Let's get a little skip. Short, and she'll have that tree to contend with. Certainly still a birdie look, though.
And it's chances like that that Sarah cannot let slip between her fingers too many times more. I mean, it's the more chances that Sarah lets go by, the more opportunity that Missy is going to be able to build on her lead, continue forward. And when there's no pressure on a player that's already playing great, they will be unstoppable. This was a smash from Missy.
No putting required here on hole number 9 for Missy Gannon. She's going to pick up another birdie, and that will push her to 5 under in the front 9.
She is looking pretty relaxed. Throwing those shots, lacing a drive, perfecting an upshot, just making it so simple to get a birdie on 9.
Well, and you have to think, you're never completely comfortable. However, on a course like this, however, when you have a stroke or two, or maybe even 3 and 4, there's just a reinforced confidence that sometimes can come about, and then you feel like you can do no wrong. You know you have a few strokes to give, and so you just continue to go out there and do your thing, and it just, I feel like it's a snowball effect. You get more comfortable, then more confident, and the confidence will then lead to more comfort. And that's, I feel like, exactly where Missy Gannon is right now, and she should be. She's looking at 5 under through the front 9. She may have as much as a 4 or 5 stroke lead by the end of this hole. Here's Heather Young, 4 par from circle 2. A little frustration from Young. You mentioned yesterday she was 4 for 4 from circle 2, and just as I repeat that, I shouldn't even sound at all surprised. She's that good of a putter. Today she hasn't connected just yet as Haley comes up short with her attempt. Now Sarah Holcomb has a chance for the birdie. And she's going to need this just to remain 3 back of Missy Gannon. If she doesn't convert, Missy will have a 4-stroke advantage over her.
Again, so close to making it.
I love the putting stroke. She gave it a chance. She got it up high enough. She had enough power. It just was a little too high. So Sarah Holcomb will lose a stroke to our leader, Missy Gannon. As does Heather Young. In fact, Heather is going to lose 2 as Missy taps in for the birdie. Haley in for the bogey, and Holcomb will settle for the par. Backing up, this is on hole number 7, where she converted from circle 2. We'll take another look at the tee shot here on 9. Anytime you can make the catch cameraman turn around, that means you've thrown an incredible shot. Simple approach. Puts her just a few feet from the pin, and Missy Gannon, she's doing everything right. If she's not getting it done with her tee shot, she's stepping up and making a great putt. She's in the driver's seat, and right now she's sitting with a 4-stroke advantage over Sarah Holcomb.
This is incredible to watch, and what I see from Missy is just how in control of her game she is. She's a positive player no matter what. So I think if she can just keep focus on the shot she needs to throw, and I think even if she finds herself into trouble, Missy has that positive mindset that she can recover. She can make something happen because she's so confident in her game right now. Several of these tee shots just require that straight blast up the middle of the fairway. Just a straight shot. Just like we saw on hole 9, again here on 10, and again on 11. So how confident are these players to throw that dead straight drive?
Good shot for Sarah Holcomb, and 345 feet with dozens, if not hundreds of trees between you and the basket. This is going to require a near perfect shot if you want to get up there on the green. I feel like with how challenging this hole is, if you walk away with a par, you're not likely to lose any ground to your competitors. You just don't want to give one back to the course with a bogey or worse. It was low out of the hands of Heather Young.
And the distance of this hole is well within their range, but there is slight elevation. And of course, it's more important to be accurate than have that full out power. Haley just walking it through and looking forward to finishing this round as we take a look at hole 10. Another very narrow gap to hit. Probably no wider than 20 or 15 feet on this one, but there are a lot of open gaps as we saw Sarah Holcomb weaving her sidearm through the trees. Slight gradual climb all the way up to the pin, a few guardian trees blocking the basket as we approach. As you mentioned, Terry, a par is a great score on this one. If you do have a chance to look at the basket and possibly give it a run for birdie, I think it's a great chance to because there's not a lot of risk, but likely to see a bunch of pars on this one.
And in fact, as I look at the previous 2 days, I see that Haley King is the only competitor that has birdied hole number 10 over the last 2 days. So that speaks to the difficulty, and yet more fans out there. Our current world champion, James Conrad, out here supporting his friends, watching along. James eliminated in his first round here at the Tour Championships this weekend. However, every night he gets to lay his head down on his pillow saying, I'm a world champ, and I did it with one of the greatest shots in disc golf history. Here's Heather Young with her second. And I love the shot there by Heather. And I want to check in with Nate Perkins. Nate, you're thinking that Missy Gannon has a game plan of just playing this for par?
Yeah, she took the safe hyzer to give herself a look down that tight tunnel at the end of this fairway. She definitely has some strokes to play with here on this back nine.
I got to follow that up and say, do you think we're going to see her get a little bit more conservative even though she's built this cushion? Will she play conservative, or is that not her typical style?
Well, I think it's just hard to play this course conservative. There are a few holes, such as this one, where you can choose to play for par, but the gaps are so small, you have to hit them with confidence.
Missy will just pitch that one right next to the pin, and I love the stress-free putting. We know that she's solid and that she can make them from just about anywhere, and she's one of the most efficient putters that we see on the tour, but whenever you can throw in a 5 or 8 footer just to move on to the next hole, that keeps the blood pressure low, keeps the heart rate low, and keeps you in full control. Here's Sarah Hokum with a backhand approach.
And as much as we always urge players not to compete against the other players in their group, and you're just competing against the course, you have to take a look at the strengths in this group. These players are so dramatically different in how they play every tournament or prepare for the rounds. I mean, Haley King, she's so aggressive. She has the distance. She can make miraculous shots happen. But for Missy Gannon being in the lead and knowing somebody like Haley is not putting the pressure on, it can change Missy's game plan.
Solid putt for par for Haley King. That will be her third par of the round. That will keep her at 7 over through the first 10 holes.
I think the most unpredictable player in the group is Heather Young. We haven't seen her in these pressure situations. She makes putts like that with being so calm, standing over those putts. And as long as she can get the drives down the fairway, she can start to score. Sarah Hokum, we know her consistency is what pays off at the end, and we know she'll never give up. So Missy, she is locked in on what she needs to do. And overall, I think she has the most strengths of this group, from driving to putting.
Well, Missy Gannon has been riding momentum, like we said, through the latter half of this entire season. We look back just a week ago, or should I say 8 days ago, down at Winthrop University, where she was taking on the Throw Pink Women's Championships. An approach there on hole 2. Here's a solid putt on hole number 7. And really no surprise, just like we're seeing this weekend. When she's not getting it done off the tee, she makes up for it with the putt or vice versa. Just an all-around game here by Missy Gannon as she cans the putt on 15, the very protected green. She's afforded the opportunity just to lay it up underneath the basket for the tap in. and she is your champion at the Throw Pink Women's Championships just 8 days ago. She collected her largest check of her career at that point, and today it could be even 5 times greater. That's insane. That's insane, Val.
I got chills.
Missy Gannon remains bogey-free and, more importantly, stress-free so far during the first half of this course. The kick off to the left side. It didn't go deep, but she's certainly going to have plenty of work from there. Hole 11, a 504-foot par 4. Sarah's tee shot will leak out to the right side of the fairway.
This hole is mostly straight with a slight bend to the right at the end.
Heather step up and put some pressure on our leader by peering it down the fairway. She's done just that. And I mentioned it earlier. This is where Haley King ultimately took Paige Pierce to the second playoff hole here on 11. With ice in her veins, she canned the putt to walk away with the Pro Tour Championships title last year. Here she finds early tree, but Heather Young, the only one of our final 4 to remain tree-free here on the tee of 11. And thank you so much for all of your eyeballs and attention here on the Disc Golf Network throughout this entire 2021 season. We know the entire Young family is out there watching as Heather is making her charge here today, but please go out and subscribe. We're going to have plenty of off-season content to hold you through until we kick off our 2022 campaign. We're so happy to be here on the Disc Golf Network. It's been a lot of fun. This is our 29th live broadcast that we've put together here in 2021, and we're looking to that and more in the 2022 year.
And what an incredible season it has been. There is nothing like live disc golf. I mean, we just saw world champion James Conrad. And for all the subscribers at home, to see those shots live in person, to have these experiences, this could be another one of those moments. And Missy Gannon is trying to make that happen for us all. I know I'm on the edge of my seat.
Still hugging that left side.
And you were just noting, it's been relatively stress-free for Missy Gannon. This is one of those first chances where she's had to scramble. She's had to make something happen. It hasn't been a perfect drive off of the tee. That's what this course does. You have to assume you're not going to get away scotch-free. I have no clue where Haley was, but that seemed to be a good second shot.
Manufacturing something from the left side rough.
Something from somewhere.
I love the creativity there by King. Sometimes just closing your eyes and throwing hard is what you have to do through the woods.
great supportive group of friends by her side through this huge moment in her career. It's so important to talk about the shots, you know, reiterate the game plan. It's good to have them alongside just to keep her calm in these moments.
As you were talking about that support system and network, again, friend and fellow teammate in Raven Newsom discussing the options with Sarah Holcomb. Great recovery shot there for Sarah Holcomb. Out of putting range probably, but at least able to get up and down and walk away with a par. Depending on what Missy has, that may actually gain her a stroke on Missy.
Like I was saying in the previous hole, that's Sarah's game plan on every course she plays throughout the tour. It's that consistency, parring these holes. You can never counter out.
And Missy finds the fairway, but is certainly going to threaten her bogey-free round. And she's a little short here on 11. She collected 5 birdies, 0 bogeys thus far. I think back to a round or two ago in qualifications, we saw Heather Young. I believe at this point she had 7 birdies during her quarterfinal round when she was moving through hole 9. Correction, she had 6 birdies through the first 9 holes. She picked up 7 total birdies through 12 holes. Today she's certainly off that pace. Great shot by Heather.
And something to mention about that incredible round from Heather, even though she had all those birdies in the front 9, her run almost came to a close with a double bogey on 15. She almost shot herself out of it. That's just how quick it can happen in those final few holes. Everyone is seeming very calm. They're having conversations with their caddies, with their friends.
Well, and actually Missy with more than I thought she had. We heard Tom just ask if she was going to mark it. She said no, she's just going to let the disc be her lie. But this is an actual approach shot from her. This isn't even a long-range putt. This is a simple approach. She's trying to lay it up right next to the pin, and she's going to have to concede and walk away with a bogey.
With the first bogey of the day, she still waves to the crowd. She still has a big smile on her face. That's that positive mind frame that Missy Gannon has.
This will be Haley King's 3rd shot. Yes. Branch almost took out Cynthia there. And a solid approach there by Haley King, fighting up the left-hand side of the fairway.
will be Sarah Holcomb's 5th attempt from Circle 2 today.
Again, another good run, just not enough to cash it in. And with the way she was lined up, Raven said, I didn't think you could miss to the right because of the way she was pinched up against the tree. Heather Young for birdie on hole 11. Count it. Heather Young is going to pick up 2 strokes on our leader, Missy Gannon. She'll move to 1 under par.
That is a huge game changer. Heather Young, it is not too late, even with the bogeys on the few holes before. Big putt like that definitely gained her some confidence.
Haley King with a par. And speaking to that, as Missy taps in for a bogey, Missy opens the door, takes a bogey, and Heather Young says, I'm going to step right in. I'm going to take advantage of the situation. I'm going to pick up a birdie. I'm going to pick up 2 strokes. The heart and the determination from Heather Young. She is such a dedicated player. She's been on the tour this year, and she is a rising star within the game. The dedication out of Heather Young. We'll see you guys now.
Saget.
Just like fierce, passion is something I feel when I'm playing. The Passion is a speed 8 neutral flying fairway driver that has a lot of glide and a straight finish. I intentionally wanted this disc to be a lightweight driver that makes distance feel easy. The Passion is the perfect addition to the Discraft lineup.
Welcome back as we are moving over to hole number 12. Missy Gannon with her first hiccup of the round. She walked away from 11 with a bogey. Heather Young right there, ready to step in. She picks up a birdie. Gains 2 strokes on our leader. Here's Heather Young with her tee shot on 12. Out in the open, staying free and clear of any danger.
And while it helps to get distance off of the tee on this long par 5, placement is crucial. Just don't find yourself into trouble off of the tee. And trouble being either side of the woods. There's no out of bounds on this one, but the fairway is distinctly lined with trees on this dog leg to the left. Excuse me, to the right. Thank you, Terry. That's what you're here for.
That is heading right, though, and scattering a few of the spectators on the right-hand side of the fairway. Haley King's going to have work to do from over there. Missy Gannon, Have to just do a simple reset as she steps up to the tee of 12 and quickly forget the bogey she had. And that is a perfect tee shot for Missy Gannon. This is another live look as they're moving down the fairway of hole number 12. Up in the upper part of your screen, that's actually 18's fairway, playing in the opposite direction. So just putting a little geography together for you guys when you're taking a look at the course and where they will be in 6 holes as we will be crowning our Tour Championship winner and awarding a $30,000 first place prize, in part thanks to our friends over at Guaranteed Rate, all of their support along with the rest of the sponsors and partners of the Disc Golf Pro Tour and the Disc Golf Network. And they're getting into position and off on that right side. The only one off the fairway, unfortunately, is Haley King. And Nate Perkins, you've been seeing her walk around and traverse through the course. Any updates on her back or anything that you can assess from what's happening out there with Haley?
Yeah, I know that Seth Muncy checked in with her, and she expressed that she feels numbness every now and then when she takes a step with her right leg, but it doesn't give her too much pain on the throw, so she is continuing to finish the round here today.
All right, thank you for the update, and of course, so great that Seth Muncy of Disc Golf Strong is out there and he's able to have real-time conversations with our competitors. He is following along. He's part of the gallery and the crowd and the support network out there right now. So good that Haley has that professional to consult with as she's completing this round. And even that may change if something happens within a throw or a situation with Haley. She may or may not choose to continue forward, but as of right now, looks like she's forging ahead.
And with Heather's shot, she was just short of the opening, so it's going to be a tight angle on her approach. Again, this is a par 5. There's a few strokes to play around with. Possibly Heather could still get a birdie.
And for being off on the right-hand side, it looks like Haley wasn't too punished. She's got a pretty good angle here. Unfortunately, that's going to fall back into the right. There's spotters right there that are on top of it, but that shot, I believe, is going to be even more difficult than the one she just had.
And this is an ideal spot for Missy. She's aiming for those flanners in the distance. That's kind of the edge of the corner. She's hoping to fade it and make the turn around the corner. The closer she can get on the right-hand side is going to shorten up that next shot.
Prime position for Missy Gannon. That was an incredible shot. Sarah Hokum shot on the par 5. And if Missy Gannon's positioning is prime, Sarah Hokum's is Amazon Prime next day delivery. I don't know, even better. Sarah Hokum right there in the tunnel, looking straight down. Possible birdie look for Hokum here on the par 5.
And Sarah has been right there all along with Missy. It's just those up shots. She's been leaving them a little bit short, relying heavily on trying to make circle 2 putts. I think this is a great advantage for her to get this close to the basket. Once we get into the trees, it is a tunnel all the way to the pin. There's just one direct route. So we'll see how lined up she is with that and how aggressive she can be. But Sarah Holcomb hasn't seen a birdie since hole 5. So this would be a great chance for her to get back on track.
And Nate Perkins on the ground is telling us that Holcomb's position is nearly perfect. However, Missy is going to have to get a little bit more creative, whether that's with a flip-up mid-range or something that she has to do with a forehand. So Holcomb with the advantage. Now Haley King is found, and she has her weapon of choice here to try and fight out through this right side rough, and that's a pretty solid recovery shot from there. She could still get up and down and walk away with a par. And as the players are moving down, and we're taking a live look, off to the bottom left side is where the tunnel continues over toward the basket. See those scattered trees? That's right in the neighborhood of where we saw both Holcomb and Missy land. They continue to skip forward and stays tree free. Great approach shot by Heather Young.
Heather looking to save par on this one, then approach underneath the pin. And now, who is going to keep the pressure on Missy? Sarah has been there the whole, like I said, every step of the way. It's just a matter of Missy just having this slight edge. And to me, it is just so fun to think about these players and what an event like this would mean to them. You know, Missy Gannon just solidifying such an incredible season for her. And Sarah Holcomb, she did not get a win on the Elite Series this year. Fell just short on hole 18 at GMC, and that was Haley King's only Elite Series pickup of the year. So even for Sarah Holcomb, with all the wins in her career, it has been a minute since we have seen Sarah Holcomb on the stage taking down a big tournament title.
Yeah, certainly we've seen so much FPO parity throughout this entire season, so many wins that were scattered throughout a number of our competitors, and Haley King really seemed to outshine and outperform everyone over on the national tour. You said she picked up the one win at the GMC. However, she picked up multiple wins on the national tour this year. So she was getting it done in a multitude of ways in the various series.
This is our view from down the tunnel. Holcomb is perfectly in line.
Yes, Sarah Holcomb, perfect shot. That will be a tap-in birdie.
And I mentioned earlier today, Sarah Holcomb turned pro in 2008. From Missy Gannon, Haley, and Heather, Haley turned pro in 2017, and for Missy and Heather, 2018. So these three players on this card are fresh blood, while Sarah Holcomb has had 10 years of experience playing in this high level of competition.
Missy, albeit a little closer than what Sarah Holcomb was, has a slightly more difficult angle to get to the pin. I love the flip up. Just needs to skip forward. It does. In fact, it carries a little past the basket. She's inside the circle. A very makeable putt for Missy Gannon, and that will be for birdie.
was thinking that was a nice angle for Missy. I know she throws a lot of understable discs and relies on that flip up, and that's the perfect type of shot you need. Release it at a little hyzer, allow the understable disc to continue to carry the distance. That was a great shot from Missy and a technical one.
And look at the gallery that is out there as they are all filtering in to the tunnel here on hole number 12. Thank you so much for joining us, whether it's on site or right here on the Disc Golf Network or even on our free offering on the YouTubes. Heather Young, simple, routine forehand approach.
And this really is the best seat in the house. I was able to go out to the Portland Open this year, was out there at Worlds. But what we get to see from these camera angles, you're getting every shot. You're seeing the distances. You don't have to rush up to get to the best position. Just sit back and let it happen.
Well, and frankly, Val, with my height, it's better to be here watching all these angles versus having to compete with the likes of James Conrad or Thomas Gilbert out on the course. They always stand in front of me, and I'm like, what's going on up there? Well, here I can sit back and take it all in from the comfort of our Bend studio.
With Sarah Holcomb right underneath the basket, you see Missy Gannon go off our screen, head over to her putt. Missy has hit 3 out of 4 outside the circle, which is just 67% inside the circle.
Oh, and wow, Missy Gannon is able to convert on the birdie, quickly negating the bogey she picked up on 11. And Missy Gannon is going to be impossible to catch with putts like that.
She knows the scenario. She knows that Holcomb is right there to take a stroke very easily if she doesn't step up to that putt and make it. And so that is just showing what experience Missy has to, even under pressure. We saw her take a deep breath standing over the putt and cans it without a doubt.
And we're going to take another look at the forehand approach here by Sarah Holcomb. Just bending it in there perfectly, playing off the backstop for their at foundation. And we'll take a look back. Sarah Holcomb earlier this year picking up a win on the Silver Series. That was back at the Vintage Open in April. And she did so in a commanding way, knocking off fellow forehander specialist in Jessica Weiss. Watching a few of her shots as she lands on the island. And Sarah Holcomb, an 8-stroke margin of victory back at the Vintage Open. Shots like that, I believe that was hole 17. Here she is in for the tap-in victory. Doing work. They're becoming harder and harder to come by out in the FPO division in terms of the wins, but as we mentioned, she picks that one up on the Silver Series. Her worst finish, and I would say this is by far her best statistic of the entire year. Your worst finish was 7th. The field is incredibly competitive, and there's plenty of women coming up to challenge for the podium spots every single weekend. But even when you're having your worst finish, it's still 7th. I think that's incredible. And we see also scramble rate. She was 5th with 43%. And we've somewhat talked about her worst statistic. Her circle 2 putts, just 10%. That's not a range or a zone that she's very comfortable in. She's not very efficient from that distance. It has something to do with her style, but she's also a very conservative and a smart player. There's plenty of times I've seen her step up to a circle 2 putt and not even intentionally give it a go, because she's just trying to eliminate any kind of rollaways or any other potential disaster. So that stat can even be somewhat misleading depending on your overall style of play.
And I would just wrap up Sarah Hokum's game with one word, and that's consistency. Sarah Hokum is always consistent. And back when she was playing her best, pars did the job. And that's how her game plan has evolved. Looks like par might be a good outcome on this hole for Sarah. Well, 13 is 360 feet. Sharp turn to the left. Sloping green.
Connects with one of the trees. Otherwise, that was just a few inches from being perfect for Missy Gannon. Heather Young, 1 under par so far. She's lining up the forehand tee shot here on 13. It's pushing left. Depending on the style of your putt, you have to think about, would I rather be down and to the left and putting uphill at the basket, or if you finish on the high right side, then you're going to be putting downhill at the basket with the potential for rollaway. And Haley King looks to be on that short left side from what we could see. We're going to fly the hole number 13, Val. What are they trying to do on this 360-footer?
Well, I am just surprised that this is the first time we haven't seen anybody inside the circle or anybody relatively close to the basket, but it is a challenging shot. Missy hit that tree on the right-hand side of our screen right there, but you want to push it up the hill as far as you can for a righty backhand shot and just allow the disc to fade to the pin. Anything on the inside, the gravity just pulls you down, pulls you lower than the pin, can pull you into the woods where I think Heather might be. So it's all about hitting that line immediately off of the tee. With Missy just being about halfway down the fairway, she's approaching the pin and has to think about the slope. And we can see her pulling out the sidearm here to kind of dig it into the hillside rather than fly over the hillside with a backhand.
What a great angle, as we were just saying, trying to dig it in. And that will be a very makeable putt for par for Missy Gannon.
Missy Gannon currently at 5 under. That was the hottest round that we saw come into the clubhouse in the previous 2 rounds.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, Sarah Hokum.
I think Andrew's a good ball. I'm more comfortable with that. Are you going left side or right side?
Right side?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go.
Pausing just for a moment there to hear the conversation between her and her caddy. I was just going to say, interestingly enough, Missy Gannon had 5 birdies yesterday, finished 5 down. Sarah Hokum also had 5 birdies, but she finished just 2 under. And although a misfire, I think she's still going to be in good position to walk away with a par.
And if this gives you any perspective on how the game has grown, last year the best round that we saw in this tournament was 2 under. So we saw 5 under come out of the first round, 5 under come out of the second round this year, and if Missy Gannon pars out, she will remain at 5 under.
Haley with a routine approach shot. She's going to be next to the pin, looking at a par. Heather Young with a huge opportunity to pick up a stroke. Just not enough for the uphill putt. She was almost to pin high with that drive, but she's going to have to walk away with the par.
With Sarah Hookham's style of putting, this needs to be a little bit more direct at the pin.
Hookham for par. When you mentioned it, she needed that lower and more direct. She lifted it, hits off the top band. Thankfully for her, it sits down, but she's going to lose a stroke to Missy Gannon if Missy converts here for her par, which she does. And just like that, Missy Gannon will extend her lead. Young is in, and Sarah Hookham will give one back to the course. She will now be tied with Heather Young. They are both 4 strokes behind Missy Gannon, your leader. They're going to move over to hole number 14. It's not over. We still have plenty of woods, but we're going to be back with you in just a few moments after a word from these sponsors.
My name is Jackie Morris, and I'm the event coordinator for Dynamic Disc. Running tournaments is really important to the disc golf community because it helps us sustain that growth that we are making. It's important to those people who have really taken it to the next level. My passion for disc golf really comes from growing the sport among other women. I love being able to give them the same opportunity to compete at a higher level as well as play at a leisurely level.
We have our group approaching the tee pad of 14. 325 feet, par 3. A good chance at birdie for our entire group. And possibly one of the last chances at birdie.
Missy Gannon stepping onto the tee of 14, currently with a 4-stroke lead. She asked for it to get lucky. I think it missed the initial set of trees that she was headed toward, but she did connect with a late one. Still plenty of distance gained before finding one of those trees just off the fairway. Heather Young currently tied for second, 4 back of Missy Gannon. She pulled that one off to the left side. Not a terrible kick. but certainly not the pure shot that she needed here if she wants to pick up any ground on Missy Gannon. High late turning shot for Haley King, and that puts her in birdie range.
With 5 holes to play, just 4 strokes back, I want to see Sarah and Heather hitting these gaps. That's going to prove to us that they are still in it. That could be 1 stroke right there for Sarah Holcomb inside the circle.
Well, we're down to just 5 holes. Missy Gannon with the 4-stroke advantage. And often you'd think, wow, that sounds like a really comfortable lead. The problem is I'm already thinking ahead to the next hole, hole number 15. It's called the Gauntlet for a reason. It has a mandatory. It's provided plenty of challenges and penalties to our players throughout this weekend. Hole 16 certainly doesn't get any easier, and even hole 17 also. Very difficult holes that remain. Most of the times when you've seen bogeys racked up throughout this weekend, it's in these last 4 or 5 holes. So albeit a comfortable lead, she certainly can't sit back and think she's got this one in the bag.
You said it perfectly. And even with the first round that we saw out here, it was Heather Young who was looking absolutely flawless in her performance. And it came down to hole 15. She double bogeyed it. She hit the first tree. Then she missed the Mando. And strokes just started to add up. And so things could level out. It's going to be up to Missy Gannon to hit that gauntlet shot. And that could solidify it for her.
Backhand approach there by Heather Young, right on point, just deep of the pin.
There are a lot of trees between Missy and the basket right now. Can she find a gap and get it close?
She certainly can, Val. Putting herself just outside the wood chips. That should be a tap-in par. Missy Gannon likely moving away from hole 14 unscathed.
And that was a clutch shot for Missy. It's this chess match that we're going to watch in these final few holes of strokes and situations. And for Missy, think about if she would have hit the first tree. Sarah Holcomb makes the birdie. That's 2 strokes right there, almost cutting in half the lead. So there's a lot of scenarios that can start to play out as, you know, the holes get more challenging on the finish. The pressure and the finish line, you know, ramping up. We're getting close to the end, but it is far from over.
Sarah Holcomb for birdie on 14. Hands it. Holcomb picking up a stroke on our leader, Missy Gannon.
With a putt like that, it certainly ramps up the odds for Sarah Holcomb. So with that short miss on the hole previous, things were looking a little shaky. But to see her focus in and nail that one for birdie shows she's still in it.
And solid scramble by the lefty Heather Young. Tap in par for Missy. Let's see a tap in here for Haley King. And just like that, Sarah Hokum has cut the lead to 3. Take another look at the putt here on hole 14 before they head to the gauntlet.
This is Sarah Hokum's largest putt of the day. Takes 14 holes to get there, but it is not too late for her to make something happen.
And let's take a look at the gauntlet. What in the world do they have to do here, Val?
This is as tight as a fairway gets out here. See the Mando tree on the left-hand side, so all shots need to stay on the right. You have to hit this tunnel. Anything a little bit off can send you sailing in either direction deep into the woods, but a nice shot that hits the tunnel, you'll likely have a putt at birdie. But we can see huge scoring separations for players that end up hitting a tree to the players that are parked.
And yesterday here on the gauntlet, they performed very well. All 4 of these competitors, in fact, they went 1 down as a foursome. Sarah Hokum got the birdie. The other 3 all parred it. Let's see if they can duplicate that today. They're going to need it.
That is not what Sarah needed. She doesn't miss the Mando, but she is far to the left-hand side and going to have to work a difficult shot.
This just might solidify the tournament for Missy Gannon. And Missy also hitting early. However, look at the positioning. Just a matter of 10 or 15 feet is going to make a world of difference. Missy Gannon can, with a good shot, still get up and down and almost easily walk away with a par. Or at least she has the chance to. Sarah Hokum's chances of parring from where she is, very slim. Heather Young looking to take advantage. She's seen 2 misfires. This could be the catalyst drive that she needs to make a late charge. And she's done it all the way out. And Heather Young will have a circle to look at birdie on 15.
And a chance to take 1, maybe 2 strokes from our leader.
As that turned over late, Haley did connect with a tree. She did make it through the Mando, and she'll also be in a position where she should be able to get up and down and walk away with a par. And I'll tell you, right now, Sarah Hokum would do anything to even have Haley's positioning, as she's already through the Mando and looking at a relatively routine par. Hokum, on the other hand, so much work to do.
The angle that Missy's actually going to have to throw is very tight. There's not a lot of room on the right-hand side to work with.
She just needs to be anywhere right of that mandatory tree. She doesn't necessarily have to split any particular gap. She just has to move past the right of the Mando sign. And there you go. Not in circle 1, but it looks like right now the worst case scenario for her would be a bogey.
Might need a timeout right now.
Showing some caddy love. And for Missy Gannon, a great shot. Got out into the open.
Let's do this. High and hard.
Alrighty.
Oh yeah.
Sarah jokingly said she needs a timeout to think about her shot here.
Flat in out of your hand and let it high and keep turning in your shot.
Sarah has to be careful. She might just be playing this for bogey, but she can't make a mistake and kick off to the right and then turn it into a double bogey.
Is there a Simon route here?
I don't know that she's got the power to hit it. That's high, trying to gain distance. And I believe that's about worst possible scenario. She hits something that then makes it even more challenging to get up and down. She need to, at worst, walk away with a bogey there. I'm going to check in with Perkins. Nate, we couldn't see exactly where that finished. Is she going to have a hard time getting up and down from where she's at now, though?
I don't think so, Terry. Sarah has a pretty open look to get up and down, and Missy still has 45 feet left for her par, so she might not lose a stroke here.
All right. Thank you for the clarification. Now, of course, Missy sitting at 45 feet approximately, thanks to Nate. So Missy could still get the par and pick up one stroke. But right now, Sarah's got to be thinking
Forehand.
At least walk away with a 4. I need a 4 here. And she's got to hope that Missy doesn't make the putt for par.
What would you throw on that line?
Maybe that 40 matrix.
Flexes back. Good shot by Holcomb.
No, I didn't like it.
What do you think? It
was fluffy. And I thought I turned it too much right out of my hand.
I feel like we're getting it inside the bag and inside the mind with Sarah Holcomb every time she steps up to her lie. There's just so much conversation with her and her caddy at the moment.
Oh, and Haley flashes the basket just in front of it. Not able to pull in any late round heroics here. She'll be looking at a par here on 14.
It's gotta feel good to be Heather Young at the moment, seeing all these shots happen, to see the situation that each player is giving themselves. She's seeing how many strokes that she is gaining on her competitors at the moment.
Well, and as Nate has indicated, he said, this is one of the first exposed baskets we've seen in a while, and this is going to have a little headwind for Missy Gannon. She's going to have to take that into account. Oh, and it needs to sit down. You have to think, had she converted there, had she taken the par, would that have essentially allowed her to walk this in? But now Heather Young sees another opportunity. She's in circle 2 for birdie and trying to pick up 2 strokes on her leader, Missy Gannon. Heather's attempt just short. She will still gain a stroke on the leader in Missy. She will remain at 1 under par as Missy will fall back to 4. King with the par save. Here on 15, that's 3 consecutive pars. Sarah Holcomb needs this putt for bogey to not lose ground to the leader, Missy Gannon.
Currently 50% inside the circle. And the pressure is on. Sarah is finding the chains.
So I mentioned yesterday, these 4 women played the gauntlet 1 under par. Today, they step up and they play it 2 over par. The gauntlet living up to its name. Just 3 holes left to play. Missy Gannon, the 3-stroke advantage over Sarah Holcomb and Heather Young. They are both very much in the conversation to hunt down our leader, Missy Gannon. And we're moving to another tight tunnel shot that needs to hit the gap on the tee of 16.
And I'm thinking about how these holes lay out and how aggressive can Sarah and Heather be on these? Can they get birdies? 16 is a likely chance, but I think the game plan for Missy Gannon is par. She needs to play clean golf, stay away from errors, and just keep it to par. Whereas we're getting a good look of hole 16's fairway. There's 2 gaps as we ride the right-hand gap of this fairway. A backhand right-handed shot is going to just hit the line and allow the disc to do the work. And even a low shot can come in and skip closer to the pin. There is also a left-hand gap, a little bit more direct route to get to the basket.
Yesterday, Heather Young struggled. She took a bogey here on 16.
The crowd seems to like it, and I think it did carry just enough. It crested over the top of that hill and maybe got a little bit farther on the other side.
King opts for the righty backhand route up on that right side. And driving it almost all the way to the pin.
The most important thing off this tee pad, no matter which line you choose, as long as you hit the gap and stay clean, you're going to make this hole a little bit easier.
That leaks out to the right-hand side. However, most importantly, she hit the gap. Missy has hit the gap, but with the right-handed backhand shot, that's going to filter down and toward the pin.
And I love to see how Missy is sticking to her routine. She has been taking several deep breaths as she stands at the back of the box. She calms her heart rate that I'm sure is just going so rapidly at the moment. She calms herself, focuses on what she needs to do, and she just looks so smooth on her drives.
Well, as I'm taking a look at the previous 2 days, again, a very small data set to pull from. However, when you look at holes 16 through 18, the very best that we've seen is Haley King yesterday. She picked up birdies on 16 and 17. Heather Young picked up birdies on 17 and 18. Those are the best overall scores that we've seen to close out the last 3 holes. They are so punishing and so demanding. If you go all the way back to our quarterfinal round, the best that we saw was a few birdies on hole 18 and a single birdie on hole 17. So those 3 holes, not exactly favorable if you're thinking, hey, I need to go out and make a charge or I need to somehow catch up. So that goes back to what you were saying. Missy Gannon playing these last 3 holes. If she can pick up 3 pars, somebody would have to do something miraculous to catch her.
And because this isn't a typical tournament scenario, I'm hoping that the caddies of all the players, specifically Sarah and Heather, if their player asks what the situation is, do I need to run for this? Do I need to lay up? I'm hoping that the caddies are staying well informed on, what could happen, the possible gains that they could get, or the possible risks. Because when it all comes down to it, these players want the biggest prize. They want to win, and they should be giving it everything they have to get there.
Everything you're saying, that scenario may play out for the second and third place prize money as well. Sarah Holcomb, solid looking backhand approach shot from trouble. That will be a tap in par here on 16. However, I don't think it's going to be enough. Missy Gannon in great position. She's at worst case scenario looking at a par. I'm thinking we're going to see a simple pitch up to the pin. She doesn't need to run this. She doesn't need a birdie, especially now that she knows where Holcomb is. She knows where Heather is. She doesn't need a birdie. I would pitch this right up, come up a few feet short of the basket, let it slide to the pin, and then just tap in for your par.
And if I was your caddy, I would say that's a good game plan, Terry. Good job.
Or run it, grab metal, and and really put the dagger through the heart of the rest of the competitors here. But wow, Missy Gannon, in the end, she's going to be able to tap that in. She's going to be able to take the par and sitting very comfortable for the last two holes.
Said, just an easy layup underneath the basket for Missy would have done just nicely. I was thinking, even how locked in she has been, nerves can get to you, and you can hit that tree in front of you. That's what I was kind of worried about. But Missy goes for the basket, tries to make it.
Heather Young converts here on 16. Also, Sarah Holcomb, she's in for the par. Missy Gannon will remain at 4 under, not losing any ground to her competitors. And Missy Gannon trying to create and write history here today. She has this putt that she doesn't need to run, in my opinion, but just off the front of the cage, and when you're feeling it, you might as well go after it. Missy Gannon today, with a $30,000 paycheck, will be bringing in the all-time single-season cash record. Such an incredible performance. If you look at her in 2021 at $37,000, you add 30 to that. Even I can do that math. That will bring her to $67,000, and she will have the all-time record in the FPO division. That's incredible, Val.
It sure is. And again, Missy Gannon, she turned pro just a few years ago. So she has quickly just driven up the ranks. And of course, it always helps to have these big paydays to ensure that these players are living a good life, being able to travel out there on the road and continue to compete at all of the events for next season. What a great way to cap off a great year for Missy Gannon.
It is, and I think back to just a few years ago. I believe the year was 2017 when I watched Missy Gannon in the Final Four at the Amateur World Championships. She didn't win that. She, of course, made it into the finals, and then by the next year, she was a professional, and she started touring around, and just such an incredible career, albeit short so far, an incredible career as she continues to rise through the ranks. Missy Gannon looking to set the single-season all-time record for money earned. Now we have Heather Young, another young star here in our game. Tee of hole 17. She sits at 1 under. Solid shot by Heather. Right now, Heather and Holcomb are playing a little bit of this match play scenario. They're just trying to get ahead of the other. Missy Gannon appears to be out of reach. As we're watching that hit a tree on the left side for Haley King. Crucial tee shot for Sarah Holcomb. She needs to stay on pace at least with Heather Young. Low, but treeless.
Yeah, and that's a great shot from Sarah. This hole, about 550 feet, dog leg to the left, but there is a Mando on the inside corner, forcing players to play off to the right. So Sarah landed in a great position.
A solid tee shot from Gannon could all but secure her victory.
Another smooth drive from Missy. Slight flip up, maximum distance, and she might be around the corner. And first off the tee pad as she marches down the fairway.
The confidence from Missy Gannon, overall solid play. Really never a doubt. She came out firing early today and has been on point with almost every single shot. And this may have been the last big obstacle for Missy Gannon. Hole 17, very treacherous. There's plenty of challenge here, but when you get clean off the tee as she did, then she should be able to kind of chip around and at least walk away with a par, or maybe a bogey at worst from her position. But Val, take a look at this tight fairway and the corner in which they need to get around here.
And like you said, Terry, a lot of these shots, it came down to a great drive. If you can get off the tee and put yourself into position, then you can see how aggressive you want to be on your next shot. And Missy has played each one of these fairways so great, only struggling on about 1, maybe 2 shots throughout the entire round. Hole 17, when the drama ramps up, it all comes down to that pin placement. Perched up on that rock. We'll see what happens if Sarah or Heather need to make a putt. How the scenario lays out with them being so close. Could be a fun one to watch, putting on this hole.
Haley King just trying to find the small window in which she can push through. And she gets caught up.
And this isn't how the day shaped out when Haley woke up this morning, dealing with an injury after retrieving her disc from this very basket yesterday. It's sad to see that Haley has been having to deal with an injury, and definitely not the way she wanted to end her season.
And maybe like even into the. Are you trying to like almost push these guys a little bit?
I'm not trying to touch them at all. That would be a mix.
Okay, perfect.
Sarah's got her angle. However, you have to be careful. Anytime you're throwing a high shot up in a very wooded hole, if you do connect with something, that's that much greater of a chance it could carry deeper into the woods. Raven says it's so good. I lost sight of it. I didn't hear anything, and I think that's the most important point. You hear Sarah say, dialing in the Hail Marys. Well, right now, her and Heather Young, I think, are going to be watching each other very closely. Difference between second and third, I believe $5,000, $15,000 to $10,000.
Heather is right here at the corner of the fairway. She's got a nice open route on the right-hand side, and with this forehand, it could get to the pin. That fine balance of power and accuracy.
Wow, what a shot by Heather Young. She is all the way past the pin and will be putting back at the elevated basket, Val.
Incredible shot from Heather, and look at her reaction right now. That was a remarkable shot, and with how great of a putter she is, she shouldn't have to worry about it, but it looks like the pressure's getting to her just a little bit.
Missy Gannon answers, and you hear everyone erupt. Paige Pierce, her good friend, giving her the slow clap. And that should do it for Missy Gannon. She's
Missy finds herself in good company and a well-deserved slow clap. I mean, that is it. This is Missy Gannon's tournament.
So James Conrad give her props, say that was an excellent shot, or it was a great shot to where Missy had thrown her tee shot to.
And he's got pretty high expectations.
Here's Haley King's third. After taking a deep breath, Missy Gannon steps up to her second shot here on 17. She watches it weave through the trees, not hitting any of them, right up next to the pin. Missy Gannon knows that might be the last crucial shot that she needs to solidify the championship.
And with how intense this round could have been, Missy has really stuck to her routine, kept herself so calm. She hasn't changed up much. Even thinking of the last putt she just attempted to make. She's not changing up what she would typically do, even in this high pressure situation.
Great shot by Holcomb. That's going to leave her just a few feet from the pin. Sarah Holcomb should have a tap in for the par 4. The question is, will she be down to Heather Young by a stroke by the time they move into 18?
And that's the kind of play, you know, with Sarah putting it basically underneath the pin, it forces Heather to make this shot. door is open for Heather Young to grab this stroke. Again, we saw her reaction, you know, taking a deep breath, looking down, looking focused. Heather Young inside the circle for birdie.
A huge putt for Heather Young. The birdie on 17. She will have a one-stroke advantage over Sarah Holcomb. Not within reach of Missy Gannon. However, Heather Young trying to secure a second-place position on the podium.
And that could have been a $5,000 putt right there for Heather Young. Without a doubt, Missy Gannon continues to charge forward, makes up for the bogey on 15, and brings herself back to 5 under par. Incredible shooting. And that was the score that I thought could win this event. But Missy Gannon has one more hole left to play. No pressure. She could finish off this tournament with not only the win, not only $30,000, but also the hot round of the weekend.
Incredible. The 3-stroke advantage for Missy Gannon. Take another look at some of the work she's done here today. This is back on hole 5. It's such a momentum builder for her. And we take a look at her approach shot. This is hole 9. After peering the fairway off the tee, the tap-in birdie. She collects on hole 9. Then just moments ago, a great tee shot on 17. Follows it up with a perfect approach shot. And the crowd knows that Missy Gannon has this locked down. She is just a few throws away from becoming your Pro Tour Championship winner. Looking at that $30,000 check to become the all-time season leader as well. But right now, the battle really shifts focus. Second place, $15,000 versus $10,000 on the line. Heather Young, 1-stroke advantage over Sarah Holcomb. Wow. Intense. Missy might be able to take a breath. She might be able to relax and walk this one in. Heather and Sarah, not at all relaxed. "24 hours ago, Sarah Holcomb bogeyed hole 18. Heather Young birdied it. Didn't make it all the way out. Missy Gannon with her final tee shot of the weekend. Val, just as we'd expect, a perfect one at that. A near flawless performance here from Missy Gannon today.
So the door of opportunity is open for Sarah Holcomb. If she can get out the gap, push it farther into the opening, she can run at the basket for birdie and make the stroke back on Heather. Starts with the tee shot.
And this looks great. Sarah Holcomb all the way out, as you said. It's exactly what she needed. Our reigning champion in Haley King just about to pass on the crown which she earned here a year ago. Also a solid tee shot. Now, Sarah Hokum, we're going to take another look at it. Certainly the advantage, putting even more pressure on Heather Young.
And for Sarah, she doesn't need all that distance, even though she's not so far in the
Really
fairway.
in trouble here.
That sidearm shot.
I never missed it in practice, not once.
That's
And
crazy.
then, lo and behold,
It's all right. You missed it when it didn't matter.
tournament stuff.
This time you got it. That's what we needed. And you like missed a little bit, and then got out into the fairway, and then you're like, let me grab my trace, throw as hard as possible. And I was like, Andrew made me putt.
Because Andrew miscommunication.
Sounds like something.
Yeah.
And I want to think back just a moment earlier at the show. We saw that Heather Young had a 0.7% chance, or she was picked with 0.7% odds to take down the Pro Tour Championships. And now here she is trying to secure second place.
There's a lot of thoughts running through Missy Gannon's head right now. All the work, all that hard work came down to today.
Crucial shot. Oh, and that's tracking. Now, keep in mind, we saw this earlier in the weekend. That is not out of bounds. That's simply a spectator rope. But Heather Young still has work to do here on 18.
You can see there's woods just past those spectators. So depending on if Heather found the woods, she might be completely out of position again. We know Sarah's in a good spot. So even if Sarah is tucked up on the right-hand side of the fairway in our screen, she has that nice sidearm. She can use all the airspace on the left-hand side. The basket is just tucked along kind of that tree line, right in line with that tree line at the very top of our screen.
Missy Gannon turning it over, knowing it's inconsequential, so to speak. She's going to be able to pitch up next to the pin from there. Missy collecting her thoughts a few moments ago, full of emotion after throwing her tee shot. And I'm hearing from Nate Perkins out on the ground that Sarah has about 360 feet to the pin. Heather will have about 250 feet, and she's in the fringe. So certainly a little back and forth that we're going to see here. First, we have Haley King.
Trying to full power it. Hung up on the trees, but kicks back to the open. Haley's just looking forward to walking this in, finishing out a rough day.
Sarah trying to getting the edge with her Bushnell rangefinder.
Not too much conversation about this one. Sarah knows exactly what she needs to do. Great line, a little low. Has the power, gets to the edge of the circle. And that is what she needed to do. Have a great shot, but most importantly, give yourself an opportunity to birdie. You know that Heather's out of position. It's going to be very hard for Heather to throw it underneath the basket from where she is. But this could be Sarah Hokum's chance, and she gave herself the best odds.
Certainly no reason for her to come up short. She should be giving it full effort. But first, we're going to see what Heather Young has left.
And the scenario here isn't throw it in. It is best chance for Heather just to get a par on this one, force Sarah to make it, and worst result if Heather gets a par, they tie.
Heather needs that to push, and now what's crazy about this scenario is we're going to have to find out who is for sure farther away from the basket. And maybe we can check in with Nate. If you're still on the ground, Nate, can you tell us who's closer? Because that will dictate exactly how Sarah Holcomb may need to react to Heather's shot.
I believe Sarah is going to be cutting first. Heather is a little bit closer.
All right, so Sarah will definitely be giving this a run. She has to assume that Heather's going to make her putt. She's knowing that Heather's one of the best ever. And now they're talking about the scenario here.
Yeah, I don't make a lot of those putts, but I'm going to try.
You know why?
We hear Holcomb say, I don't make a lot of those putts, but I'm going to try. Well, it could mean the difference of $2,500. Here's Missy Gannon for her second to last shot of the tournament.
Wow, wow, wow. $30,000 richer. 2 massive wins to finish the season. Missy Gannon is absolutely one of the best players in disc golf at the moment.
You see a 5-time world champ come up her and give her a hug. This is Sarah Holcomb. This could be a $2,500 putt for Holcomb. She's trying to now tie Heather Young. Had the height. Sarah Holcomb so close. That was a solid run off to the left, just not enough. Now pressure turns around and goes back here on Heather Young. Heather Young settles for a moment. This is now a $2,500 putt for Heather Young. And Heather Young short. Val, I would have bet at least one of your trophies on Heather Young making that. And just like that, we're going to see Heather Young and Sarah Holcomb tie for second. They will split $25,000 between the two of them. Haley going to tap in and close out. Not able to defend her title. Haley will walk home with $8,000.
And Sarah Holcomb just needs to tap this one in.
And she's done so. Sarah Holcomb for a share of second place, along with Heather Young, both winning $12,500, and Missy Gannon, your champion at the Pro Tour Championships.
Oh yeah. Nice job, Miss.
Ladies and gentlemen, on tour and all the fans around the world, I am very proud to announce Missy Gannon as the 2021 Disc Golf Pro Tour champion. And on behalf of Guaranteed Rate and the Disc Golf Pro Tour, I am pleased to award a record-breaking $30,000 grand.
Well, I'll try to talk a little bit, but oh, there we go. I'll just do it here.
Missy.
Oh,
What a historic day. Tell us how you're feeling right now.
I don't even know. I knew I had it in me, and when I got through some of those last holes really clean, honestly, I couldn't believe it, but yeah, it's amazing.
Okay, I've got something that you're not going to believe. You just broke the single season cash record for any FPO player all time.
Wow, oh my gosh, I can't even believe that. Such a big shout out to the Disc Golf Pro Tour for just elevating the game in so many ways, especially for the women's payouts, because a stat like that would not be able to happen without all that hard work, and yeah, just an incredible season.
Now, if you can you take us through your routine? It seems like your routine can overcome any nerves. Are you nervous out there when you're dropping 40 and 50-foot putts in to open your round?
Not really, or it's channeled in a way that, you know, it just really helps me commit to those putts fully, and, you know, this is what I love to do, and especially putting, so, you know, when I'm on the green, I just feel so confident and so ready to just put it in the basket and be done.
Wow. Well, is there anything else that you would like to add? Anyone that you would like to thank out there?
There's so many people, but first, Tom, thank you so much. You're an amazing support system on the bag in life. I couldn't do it without you, but excuse me. Also, thank you to all my friends for being out here and watching and supporting me. And, you know, we're competitors sometimes, but like Paige, we're competitors sometimes, but, you know, at the end of the day, we're friends and we're always rooting for each other. And just to see all of my friends behind me and watching me today was, you know, such a awesome feeling. Obviously, my sponsors, Discraft, have been so amazing since I joined them in 2020, and OTB Discs has had my back since the beginning. Grip bags, thank you so much. I mean, I'm sure Tom's really comfortable with that bag on his back. And then obviously Whale Sacks keeps my hands dry, and see why those shots come out so clean. So yeah, thank you to everybody who has ever supported me in any way, and I would not be here without everybody.
Well, Missy, congratulations on a historic victory. It's one that we will all remember, and we cannot wait to see what you do in 2022.
Thank you. I can't wait either.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching the
Congratulations again, Missy Gannon, your champion here at the Pro Tour Championships. Stay tuned. We're going to be right back with our OTB after show. We'll see you in a moment.
We are here to teach your entire school about the sport of disc golf.
The National Amateur Disc Golf Tour is disc golf's only nationwide tour dedicated to amateurs, aspiring amateurs, and future professionals. With events in nearly every state, including Hawaii and Alaska, the NADGT allows amateurs from all over to compete against each other. Whether you're thinking about trying to play some tournaments, or wanting to take that final step to professionalism, the National Amateur Disc Golf Tour is the best place to look for the most fun and competition in disc golf. For more information about the tour or the season schedule, go to nadgt.com.
I would recommend the Envy to every single person that plays disc golf.
This is such a good throwing putter.
If you don't have an Envy in your bag, I don't know what you're doing.
The Envy is one of the most pure, straight flying putters.
Comes out clean, can handle power, it can handle touch. It's just very versatile.
It holds any line that you're really putting it on. It's so good. So good! It's so good.
Well, your 2011 Memorial Open champion, Paul Macbeth. Paul, how does it feel?
It feels wonderful. I mean, I'm just now getting my heart back to normal.
It's easy to forget, easy to take for granted all we've been given. It's not about brands, teams, or titles. It's about coming together and remembering. Join us and let's share the game we all love with the world.
Welcome back, everyone. Terry Miller alongside Val Jenkins. And Val, first and foremost, congratulations, Missy Gannon. And secondarily, congratulations to all of our finalists. An entire season battling, traveling around the country, week in and week out, to arrive here in Charlotte. Some of our competitors had to play through all the way to arrive at the finals. I think of Heather Young, such an incredible performance throughout the year, but Missy Gannon comes out on top, and she did so with the score you predicted, 5 under.
Yeah, and that's such solid shooting. 3 better than the best score that we saw last year. Missy was on a path of her own from the very start. I mean, she hit 3 outside the circle putts in this round, and she never lost focus. She stuck to her routine, and that's a culmination of everything that she's worked for throughout the whole season. You know, she has played on tour. She has played, I think, every Pro Tour event, and she came out with a big win at Des Moines, of course, in the middle of the summer, and she continued to grow her game from there. And it's these moments like this when a new player takes down a big win. They know they can do it. You know, it's that validation that all that hard work and they can make it happen. And now taking down Throw Pink, another validation. And then when the biggest money is on the line, Missy Gannon does it again. It is not too far off to say that we are going to see Missy Gannon taking down a world championship or in contention to do so in the near future.
Well, I'm going to rewind just a little over a month ago. Missy Gannon found herself going up against her friend and one of the best in the world, Paige Pierce, at the Match Play Championships. Zoe Andyke had told me that when that round was complete, when that event was complete in the middle of September, Missy had let Zoe know that she said, "I'm feeling more confident than ever." Her confidence was riding at an all-time high. You fast forward a few weeks, Missy Gannon takes down the Throw Pink Championships, and just 8 days later, she takes down our championships here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. The ceiling is limitless for Missy Gannon, and she's proved that this weekend. And I think, as you were just saying, the fact that she can stand over some of those putts, she can get focused, she can dial it in, she can contain her emotions. Even though she's always smiling, she contains the nervous emotions in the best possible way, and then she finds a way to execute the shot. And today, it was nearly flawless. as she just walked her way through this Hornet's Nest course. She only ran into one or two mistakes, one being the gauntlet, but she walked her way through this course, always keeping it in check, and just such an incredible performance from her throughout. So, Missy Gannon, congratulations yet again. Let's take a look at our Only the Best, the OTB shot of the day. We're going to roll it back, and here's what we're going to find. This was her longest putt of the day. Comes in at 49 feet. She came up short on the drive. But like I said, anytime that she's short, she says, I still got this. She's going to put it up there, finds the center of the chains, and Missy Gannon takes the birdie. She was off to a great start. She picked up 4 birdies in the first 7 holes, and that set her on a path to just cruise on through the back.
I mean, how could you not be a fan of Missy Gannon? I mean, from her performance this week to the interview at the very end, I know you were tearing up. They were rolling down. I'm glad they didn't come to the booth at that moment, but you could just see how much moments like this truly mean to a player that has dedicated their lives to the disc golf tour. It is now paying off, and like Nate said, I can't wait to see what Missy Gannon does next year. You know, she'll just continue to grow her game and be even more confident in the skills she has.
Well, she is certainly part of that next generation of professional disc golfers that we see her touring around. And just think, Val, you're here in the booth, a 4-time world champ, watching her take it down on site. She had a 5-time world champ watching her from the sideline, another 5-time world champ. She's going up against world champion in Sarah Hokum. All of those eyes on her, and then she steps onto the stage and performs the way she does. I just can't think of a more fulfilling moment and weekend for Missy Gannon.
Right. And one final thought, because thinking about those scenarios, you know, you see Missy Gannon make a huge putt, and, you know, she shrugs it off like, oh, yeah, that was great. Like, how'd that go in? But she is so good. She just needs to believe in herself a little bit more. You know, she's so confident in making those putts, going for those great shots. And the more belief she has in herself, there's no stopping a player like that.
Well, I'll admit, I get emotional when I see players like Missy Gannon win. I think about my daughters who are 10 and about to turn 13. Missy Gannon is someone that they can look up to. Mm-hmm. She's focused, she's personable, she is dedicated to her craft, she's a top performer, and at the end of the day, she's always a good human. And for those reasons, that's why I get excited about seeing those types of champions step onto the stage, perform the way they do, and it even gives me chills just thinking about it. Those are the type of women that I hope my daughters continue to aspire to be and to look up to. Missy Gannon, you're an incredible champion, and congratulations. We're going to close this out. It's been one heck of a season here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. I'd be remiss to not mention Val, you stepping in so many times throughout this season and throughout the last few seasons, providing commentary, whether it's with you and Nate and others, week in and week out. The efforts, the dedication that you and Nate have put forward, we wouldn't be where we are here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour without all of the contributions that you've made. The fact that you can dust off your 4 world title trophies, but then come into your studio and step into the booth and then provide all the insights that the whole world enjoys, and you do so with a smile. We very much appreciate that as well. So thank you.
Where's the tissues?
Thank you so much for everything that you guys have done. Thank you to all of the incredible crew and staff, all of our tournament staff and crew throughout the entire country. We've talked about it. We've traversed all around, and all because we have these gracious hosts, these partners, and these sponsors time in, time out, everywhere, including Guaranteed Rate here at our culminating event. Thank you. This all wouldn't be possible without you guys. And of course, our control room, Mo and Ian and Johnny V and Gary, all of those guys. Our list is growing. Our family is growing here on the Disc Golf Network. And we're so happy to be bringing you live disc golf week in and week out. So for the 4-time world champ and Hall of Famer, Valarie Jenkins, I'm Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy. We'll see you this afternoon for the conclusion of the FPO Finals here on the Pro Tour Championships. We'll see you then.